being able to share and experience that moment with you. I mean, the fact that like, I mean, outside of Keith, because I know he had obligations, he's the busiest man in the world next to like Kiki Palmer. Like they are always doing
He's talking about
things.
Keith David because Keith David, the amazing actor,
Mm,
such a voice. When you hear his voice, you automatically know it.
so
So
recognizable.
that's why in voice animation, it was such a blessing to have him. So, okay, I want you to tell the people though. I want you to tell the people, we're going to go back a little bit. We're
Hmm.
going to rewind back a little bit. Actually, even before me, before I came onto this project,
Hmm.
because you've been working on this story for a long time.
A decade. It
A
will make September 26th will make 10 years.
10 years.
Mhm.
Can you tell the people what inspired you to start with this story?
So the initial conception of Captain Zero really came from a depressive episode that I almost lost. This was 2015. I had just moved to Orlando, had been living in Florida my entire life, just moved to Orlando for college. I went to college at Tulsa University. This was maybe 3 months in, and I fell into one of the worst depressive episodes I'd had at the time. A year prior, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. And again, there was no one in my immediate circle, no friends, no family members that even knew where to start the conversation about my mental health. Also growing up, like being Caribbean, both my parents Haitian, it was like, you're sad. What is that? Why? I don't understand.
Yeah.
So when I had, that really, really bad depressive episode, it felt like it was just like a compounding things that were happening. It was, moving away in this new place, venturing out, still trying to figure out who I am as a person. That was like the first time I got like my nose pierced. Like there were just so many, all these new things that were happening. And a lot of it was just like scary and challenging at the time. And I fell into a really, really bad depressive episode. And I remember I was like in my living room, I was bawling my eyes out, I was like in the fetal position. And I remember when I got up off the ground, I remember to the table to the left of me, there was a stack of paper and a pencil. And then I remember in my bathroom, there were a bunch of razor blades because I, cut my own hair. And I remember thinking to myself in that moment, like, I have two options. It literally felt like a fork in the road. I could go down this path. That's maybe something that's constructive, or I could go out of this other path, something that's destructive. And ultimately, the more I sat with myself and the things that I was feeling, I realized more than anything, what I felt was voiceless. I felt like, again, there was just no one that understood me, and I wanted so desperately to be understood. So I decided to take, the pencil and the paper and instead try to transmute what it was that I was feeling into something that could be tangible. So the initial conception of Captain Zero was really just supposed to be about my senior year in high school, being diagnosed with major depressive disorder and navigating that as like, a black mask person. That was the basis of what the show was supposed to be about. But then throughout like that night, again, I just started thinking about all of my, other influences, things that I loved, superheroes, comic books, all those kinds of things. And I was like, wait, what if I made like this narrative about like this superhero that was dealing with depression? Because that was something, again, I had never seen before. And I thought about what an interesting concept that would be. And then, yeah, within a few hours, I had drawn the very first image of Captain Zero.
Wow.
And I came up with that name, Captain Zero, because again, I just thought it would be such a great juxtaposition, like Captain being this, name of a high ranking military officer, but Zero meaning nothing and nobody. So it's like you're the captain of the nothings, of the nobodies. So that was, where the initial conception of the show came about.
Wow. Like, and that's incredible that I don't know what it was about you connecting depression and mental health and sort of the struggle that we've had as Black people
Hmm.
to be in environments that could help us understand and access these things. It just seems so wild that you revealed the weight
Hmm.
that so many of us are under with Black excellence.
Yeah.
This thing that weighs us down that we're trying to live up to when we find out that Black excellence is a scam because
Yeah.
there's so much white mediocrity out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But so many times myself, I come from a lineage of people who have done amazing things because they had to,
Yeah.
because they had to.
Hmm.
But when you said there's a line that sticks out to me in this whole series, You know what line I'm talking
I know
about.
the line.
What's the line?
Who's going to save me when I need saving?
Who's going to save me when I need saving? Do you know? For some reason, I thought I had some unlimited supply of privilege because I was pretty. I thought the pretty would take me to the bank or something. I don't know. But like, I thought I had all this privilege. And so I was ignoring my own needs so much and just pouring into, just serving community and doing the things and what have you. And then time after a while, I started chipping away at my own sort of like, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
We're dealing with this for so long and seeing change and then a pushback. And then I also suffer the consequences of being the one who steps out there and then gets beat down and have my livelihood taken from me and certain things and what have you. And all of a sudden I find myself in need.
Yeah.
I find myself in need of community, of support, of all these things, and looked up and had to ask myself the same question: who's going to save me when I need saving? But for me, that answer was community. Because the reality is, I have been in community for so long with people. And so community pretty much was begging me at this point, let us show up for you. You shown up for community in all these different ways. Please let me show up for you. And I had to break myself down to be able to accept the support and the help. Sometimes we got to feel like we can do it all ourselves. And so coming onto this project, you saw it was an immediate yes from me.
Yeah. Which is crazy because
tell the people how you got me onto the project.
So again, like the wildest thing ever. Like it literally anytime someone asks me like, how did you get Angelica Ross? How did you get Keith David? And I'm like, I can tell you the story of how it happened, but this is not a average normal story.
Right.
But literally because of Twitter. Like, so when I write all of my characters, I always write with a specific actor in mind. So this was around like late 2018, 2019, and I'm watching Pose. And I see you in it as Candy, and I'm like, my goodness, like I am just completely blown away. I'm enamored with you as a human being.
Thank you.
So then I always knew that I wanted, a trans character in Captain Zero. And I'd already, had, some basic kind of things. But once I had saw Pose, I was like, oh no, like I found the character. I found their voice. I found their identity. I found everything. And I just started writing and going crazy. And again, for me, so art was really the main thing that I started with. So before I write anything, I always draw.
Yeah.
So I drew Oblivion and what Oblivion looked like. And I made the basis of what that character looked like, literally designed off of you. So one day randomly,
she's gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous.
So one day randomly, I just like make a tweet and I'm like, hey, I made this character for the show. And I think this would be amazing because again, the goal of the show is to show the intersections of all Black experiences. Very often, especially in media pertaining to Black people, we'll get some Black people or certain parts of the community, but we're not really showing Blackness as a whole.
Absolutely.
And I feel that Black people and Blackness is so multifaceted. And I was like, there's this character that I think would just be like so great to kind of really help break this particular barrier. I would love if you did the voice. And I tagged you in it, and it was just a complete shot in the dark. I just made that tweet. I posted the picture, and I think I went to bed. And then I woke up maybe like 40 minutes later. It's probably like the ancestors nudging me. And I wake up like 40 minutes later, and I'm looking at my notifications on Twitter, and like instantly I see there's a response, blue check mark, and I'm like, oh, well, what's going on? And it's you, and you're like, this looks amazing. I would love to be a part of it. Let me know more. I'd love to figure it out. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And you're like, yeah, just, DM me the information. I was like, so instantly I send you a message and I'm sending you all the material. I'm like, here's the scripts, here's the show deck, here's more artwork, here's a little animatic that we did. I'm just showing you everything that I have at that point. And you went through it. I think it took like a couple of hours. Then like you got back to me and you were like, this is absolutely amazing. I want to be a part of this. Like, let me know any and every way I can help get this thing off the ground because this needs to be made and the story needs to be told.
Immediately. And then I went to my agents because you told me that you wanted Keith David. And Keith David is at the same agency as us, you know? And so it's like they were able to connect you with Keith David and he said yes.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you to now have this project where you've got the Angelica Ross, the Keith David, in this project, and then we bring it to the space and you get it accepted to Tribeca, and you have Whoopi Goldberg curating, hand selecting our project to be a part of this thing. And I had to look, I saw you as like I saw the young you.
Yeah.
Standing next to Whoopi and being so, you know, just about this moment. Yeah. What does it mean to you to stand in this reflection of this moment coming from where it began, where you were dealing with this depression and to seeing what this has led you to now?
Man, it's so beautiful. I still feel like I'm still kind of coming down from the high of that experience. And even, you know, meeting, you know, connecting with you, even like in the first like virtual interaction I had with like Keith, talking to him, like all the life that he's spoken to me. You, when I talked to you for the very first time we did our interview, and all the life that you've spoken to me, I felt like that was honestly the validation that I was kind of looking for as an artist. You know, not that, you know, we should go around seeking external validation, but what that meant to me, because I respected you guys so much, because you guys both come from a very long, illustrious career of all these amazing projects that you've been a part of. So it's like someone of that caliber has seen something that I've done, and you don't know me from nowhere, and you've seen what I'm doing. You're like, no, yes, you're on the right path. You're doing the right thing. It was, again, for me, it felt like the ultimate validation as an artist. Like, oh my gosh, you know what? Maybe I am good. I think it's oftentimes, at least for me, that imposter syndrome kind of creeping in of being like, well, are you as good as you think you are? Like, yeah, you think this draft is good, but like, is it really? And on this long 10-year journey that I've been on making Captain Zero, again, like the version of the script that you saw was draft 134.
Right.
You know, so it took a long time to get the script and the quality of the story and the characters up to a point where it was like someone could read this for the first time and it's an instant yes. But I had to deal with all of those no's and all those rejections and all the ghosting, you know, like reaching out to people and then just nothing, you know?
So it's Pride Month. And I think it's no coincidence that we are meeting during Pride Month, that I was doing this show during Pride Month to highlight folks. And I find out, you know what I'm saying? You are in our community. Now listen, identifying as non-binary, the pronouns are
they, them.
They, them are the pronouns. How did you, because again, you've been going through depression, you've gone through these things. How did you make it to a place to be able to embrace your non-binary identity?
So, you know, I feel like it came to a point where I just couldn't not be non-binary anymore. So something that I've heard in the experience of a lot of people that come out when they're older is the first interactions within people of their community, kind of seeing other people that are already living the life that they would like to live, kind of inspires them to be like, oh my gosh, like I could also do the same thing. But also for me, it was realizing like, I didn't even know that was an option. I thought the only boxes were like male, female, and that's kind of it. That's what I was raised to believe and raised to think, you know? So it wasn't until I think I was about like 16 years old and I had a friend that was non-binary. And that was the first time I had ever met or engaged with a non-binary person. And I remember actually the first time they came out to me non-binary, I think my response was like terrible. Not that it wasn't accepting, it was just very ignorant. Like I was just like, I don't know what that means, but like whatever you got going on, cool. Which is just like, that's awful. That's terrible.
But I'm sure that was good at the time. I know. Yeah.
You know, but the longer I got to know them, the more it was like, oh, wait a minute. There are all these things that I understand about gender are really just like social constructs. Even the way that people present their attire, none of these things are directly tied into who a person actually is. And again, also realizing that like, oh, there's more options. There's more than just being this. And it made me go back and reflect to childhood. It made me think about all these instances where, you know, I was called a mama's boy or a crybaby or just overly emotional for a boy. Like when I was younger, because I've always been an artist my entire life, I was like, oh, that's just the artist in me. That's why I'm so sensitive. But you know, going back after, you know, doing all that knowledge and research, it was like, oh no, like there were always things about masculinity that I just never got, like literally outside of the way that I dress, just because this just feels the most comfortable for me, there really isn't a whole lot of things that are very masculine about me.
Right, right.
Like, I don't like manual labor. I've never really been into monster trucks and cars. The things that I do like are all really based on like aesthetic beauty. Like, to me, I think a Lamborghini Aventador is an amazing car, but not because it's a Lamborghini, because of boys, I'm just like, aesthetically, it's one of the most beautiful cars I've ever seen. So I've always looked at things through that vantage point, through that lens. And again, there were just so many aspects about things boys would do, or things that were normal socialized things for boys to do, where I'd be like, I don't get it. Why are y'all doing that? That's weird.
So what does non-binary mean to you?
So non-binariness to me means the freedom to be and exist as I am as a person. You know, it's one of the reasons why I changed my name. I'm like, I want my name to be reflective and indicative of who I am. And again, like singular letter. Like, I don't even want it to be like a full other name, like singular letter, like being. I am just Z. That is what I am. How I show up, how I, engage with people, the way that I show love for my community. These are all the things that I want people to remember about me, not, what my sexual orientation is or who I choose as a partner. I just want to be and exist as a person. Another part of, finally coming out as non-binary was it finally got to a place where it just felt like I just couldn't pretend to be a man anymore. Like, the more that I was learning about these things, the more that I was, engaging more with my community, the more I was like, oh my gosh, like there's this whole other side of existence of being that I didn't even know about. So for like a good, probably from the ages of like starting at like 22, I knew I was a non-binary person, but I didn't tell anyone I was a non-binary person. And most of that had to do with the response of other people. I was like, what are they going to say? They've known me their whole life as a man. What are my friends going to say? Like, what's my mom going to say? Like, I'm going to tell them all to call me a new name. Like, that's going to be weird. It's going to be uncomfortable. And so much of it was, again, predicated on how will other people feel about how I exist.
Right.
But it eventually got to a point where it was like, people would say my dead name, and it's like I started getting a physical, visceral reaction to it. And I was like, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. Every single time people would say it, because that name, again, to me was associated with everything that was the pretending of that version of me. And I was like, I don't want to pretend anymore. And it got to the point where the mask was so heavy, it was like, I can't keep carrying this. So it just got to the point where one day, randomly in my group chat with all my friends, I was like, hey, you guys, so I'm non-binary. If you got questions, here's the Google definition of what it means. I'm open to have a conversation if you guys want to talk and learn more about it. But like, this is me. This is who I am. What's up? We still friends or what? And to my surprise, all of them, except for one, no one friends no more, were like, I'm not sure I understand everything about this, but I love you and I want to be there for you. And I'm committed to doing the work to understanding you. Wow. And yeah, so I was like, what? Oh my God, my friends are amazing.
Not only your friends, your sister.
My sister
is amazing too. Looks just like you, child. Y'all look just alike.
That's what everyone said.
But seeing your sister there, supporting you was so amazing. And then also getting to meet so much of the rest of the team and folks that have been there for so long, helping you write these stories. Can you talk about your team and just like, because one of the things I am so proud of is like in the animation team, Cutting Edge. Like, didn't they work on another animation series that I really love? Didn't folks work on?
I mean, we had a couple of our animators that we've worked on
a few things. Didn't we have a few people that worked on Invincible?
Yes, yeah.
So when I tell you I saw it set in that theater, gagging. You sent me the scenes and the different things or whatever, but I haven't seen it in the whole all thing together. So when I was seeing it all together, I was like, and I'm telling you, in that moment, I was enjoying myself, but I was also, oh my goodness, this is going to be huge. This is, oh my God, whoopies. Can't stop talking about it. And like, I just saw everything happening in that moment. Talk to me about the different people and how you were able to pull together a team with such talented animators and co-writers that you work with.
Yeah. I guess first I'll start with Andre. Andre's my vice president, also my co-writer, co-director. He's who I met in Full Sail, who like about 3 months after I'd made Captain Zero, I met him and we started working together. The brief version of how we met is basically we were in a script writing class together, and both of us thought we were the best script writers in that class. And then we heard the other one go up and deliver their pitch, and we were like, hold up, wait a minute, I might have some competition.
Wow.
And it was my idea to essentially be like, you know what? I feel like if I don't work with this guy, I'm going to spend my entire career looking over my shoulder to be seeing what he's doing. So, you know what? Instead of doing that, let's just work together.
Wow.
And I feel like, you know, instead of being two individual, really good filmmakers, we kind of come together and we make one great filmmaker.
I love that because so many times people are focused on the individual route. And you guys have been working together for how long now?
10 years.
10 years. And
yeah.
And let the people know, Captain Zero, that ain't it. I mean,
oh no, we have so much.
I mean, you don't have to tell them everything, but yeah. Well, we know that we got a lot of projects in the works.
A lot of projects. So that's Andre. Then, you know, we have our CMO, our chief marketing officer.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's amazing. Queen is absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. They're also my partner. Oh my goodness! Like again,
are they non-binary as well?
Well, she goes by she.
Oh, she okay. Because
yeah,
I just want to make sure I'm getting.
I got
because I love them, and I want to make sure I respect them as well.
I got you. But yeah, no, she goes by she her. But yeah, no, like Queen is just absolutely phenomenal. Like her mind, especially when it comes to like marketing, like the ideas that she has. She also comes from an artist, graphic designer background. She's also currently in school right now to be an art therapist. So it's actually kind of crazy how so many different parts of our world intersect.
So
it's like I'm making a show about mental health and therapy, and my partner is studying to become an art therapist. So yeah, no, Queen is absolutely amazing. Then you have Chris Carthern. He's our COO. He's another, again, super phenomenal person. Came in. He's the main reason why we even made a part 2. I wasn't even thinking about making a part 2 until Chris randomly hit me up in an Instagram DM, was like, oh my gosh, I saw part 1. Well, at the time it was just the regular version.
Right.
But he was like, oh my gosh, like I saw part 1 and this was like so cool. It resonated with me so much. It ends on a cliffhanger. Have you ever thought about making a part 2? And if you do, I've got like $8,000 for you. And I was like, I wasn't at first, but now you've piqued my interest. And then that relationship was able to develop and blossom there. But he's a great, amazing human being. And then Italian, he's our CFO. He came in actually just a couple of months ago because he's the reason why we finished the short film, because we actually ran out of money.
Baby.
In, what was that, the early of January?
Was doing GoFundMe, selling merch, doing all the things.
Oh my God, we were doing all the things. Yeah. Like we had that initial Kickstarter. We raised, the goal was 35,000. We raised 36 and we were like, oh my gosh, we got it. Okay, cool. Off to the races. And then, as is with all animation is very expensive.
Very.
And something that we do at Cutting Edge Animation that's not common is, again, we pay above what the traditional rate is for what most animators get paid, especially working on an indie level. Because for me, I'm like, you know, everything I want to be ethical. You know, our official slogan is cutting edge, never cutting corners.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't want to, if my goal is to differentiate myself from these other major studios, I want to make sure that everything we're doing, including our practices and how we pay people, compensate people, is different. So we ended up running out of money in January, and we ended up raising, starting a secondary Kickstarter. We, funny enough, did not raise the goal that we wanted for that secondary Kickstarter, but the Italian actually saw that Kickstarter, messaged me on Instagram. Again, I don't know what it is about Instagram and financial opportunities, but for some reason they seem to find me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Saw our Kickstarter, messaged me. He was like, hey, I saw the highest tier that you guys have to donate is $500, but I want to give y'all way more than that. I think this is like amazing. I would love to be a part of it. We hop on a phone call, we have a conversation, and it felt like in that one conversation that we had, it's like, I feel like I've known this guy like my whole life. You feel like the older brother that I've always wanted. I told him what our deficit was, and he was like, all right, like I know, because again, like, you know, Black people. And I was like, for me, I'm always like, I've always had to deal with the bare minimum. So I'm like, if you just give me the base, I'll make it work. But the Italian was like, no, tell me what you really need. I know this is the base, but tell me what you really need. I told him that number and he was like, bet, no problem. Give me 2 weeks and I'll give it to you. So Chris is the reason we started. The Italian is the reason that we finished.
Oh,
you know, so you know, he came through. Then we have Lori, our executive assistant. She's absolutely wonderful. They helped me with all of the things that I Because my ADHD, I can
Me too.
scatterbrain.
Me too.
So
Don't listen. That's another ADHD. But it is also a superpower as a
yes,
superhero. Yes.
yes,
Well, I have to say thank you just so much for having the courage to make it through your own challenges,
thank you.
having the courage to speak up, having the courage to speak out and ask
Mm,
for Angelica Ross
yeah,
and get the ball rolling and all these things because we are here now because of you
yeah.
in these moments. I cannot wait for us to work on the movie,
The
on the feature film. Y'all,
movie.
we are working on a feature film, so we still need your support. So please still stay tuned.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to, will I be able to like play a little clip?
Oh yeah,
A
yeah,
little
yeah, yeah,
clip
for
for the
sure. Now
people?
that we got Tribeca out the way, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
No, we can show
So
the
we're gonna
full
play a
trailer.
little clip for you so you can just see how amazing Captain Z is as we come out of this interview. So again, thank you so much. Happy Pride. Welcome to the family.
Thank you so
And
much for having me.
please,
Happy Pride.
like I told you, we are in this together.
Mm,
As a black trans woman, my pockets don't run as deep, all the time. And blah, blah, blah. But I bring what everything that I bring.
hmm
And I will work and use everything that I have. So when we need something, but we're gonna get it together.
Likewise, likewise. No,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Z. Happy Pride.
Thank you. Happy Pride.
We'll be right back.
What's wrong, hero? Walls closing in around you. Hope fading. Darkness overtaken. You can feel it, can't you? The despair setting in. Oh, shh. Don't try and fight it. Just sit back and sink into the abyss.
Baby. I can't wait for y'all to see Captain Zero. We are doing private screenings across the country right now. We just did one in Washington, D.C. We got Chicago coming up August 24th, I believe. You might want to check the Instagram to double check on that. Follow Captain Zero TAS, I think is the handle. Also, Z Cherame is ZCHERAIME. Make sure you follow along for all the good stuff. Thank you again, Z, for including me in on this amazing project. Thank you again for sharing your brilliance and coming on to the Now podcast. This definitely opens up the door to continue our conversation because there's somebody named Z, also spelled ZEE, who is said enough with the conversation and then said, of course, their partner is AFAB, and then said, I'm sick of the games. So so we are going to dive into it because I think I understand where you're coming from and what you're talking about. We're going to tap into this a bit deeper here. And in order to do that, I basically am bringing on a powerhouse. Erin Lang is a Black Ohio born powerhouse who is part cultural critic, part creative visionary. She's made it her life's work to uplift the lives and legacies of Black transgender women, from organizing the first ever National Day of Action for Black trans women to hosting the Emmy nominated PBS series First Person. Erin brings heart, history, and heat to every stage she steps on. She sparks the conversation at the White House, created a viral digital series with Anne Hathaway, and helped launch groundbreaking initiatives like the Illuminations Grant and institutions like the Marsha P. Johnson Institute. Whether she's behind the mic, in front of a camera, or writing the blueprint for liberation, Miss Lang is here to shake the table, to tell the truth, and to remind us all of the beauty in Black trans brilliance. Please welcome to now Erin Lang. Erin, how
Hello,
are you?
hello, everybody. I'm good. Let me get in. I feel like I'm not in the right
Yes.
place. I was
Listen,
to say from
Z already knows that they done started something, so
I was
we about to.
about to say this was a setup from the door.
Part of me said, as I was like choosing which interview was going to be played, tonight, I was like, this is perfect.
Oh
This
my
is perfect for me to play, and to show another, embodiment of non-binary. But
right.
there is some confusion. There's a lot of confusion, both in the community and outside the community when we're talking about trans, when we're talking about non-binary. I think there's some tension between, like trans folks who have medically and socially transitioned and those who identify as non-binary and who have not either medically or socially transitioned. And, obviously this became very apparent when we saw Laverne Cox's accountability conversation and panel with the
Yeah.
girls. And in my opinion, it definitely should have been all trans women for that first waiting to exhale conversation. You
Yeah.
know, because here's, I want to start this off by sharing a story with you all. And y'all might be like, what does that got to do with anything? But I promise you, that is gonna connect. So I went to this cruise called Summit at the Sea, and it was basically this like special situation where they were bringing together a lot of wealthy people, really, and it was mostly that kind of thing every year where they were coming together to discuss different ideas and what have you. But I think the person who was programming it that year wanted to really shake things up. So they invited me, Teak Milan, Gina Rosero, Dream Hampton, Patrice Cullors. Like we were all there talking about Black Lives Matter. We were talking about Trans Lives Matter. We were talking about like all of the things. And what I realized in that situation, and this is, this doesn't have anything to do with anything, but I will say that
Listening.
I had a great time, and there was just men all trying to hit on me in these spaces, and I didn't have a chance because it was night, the music's playing, we're all like have good time. I didn't have a chance in this moment to like disclose that I was trans to this guy that was trying to dance with me, and then all of a sudden he's like, sticking his tongue down my throat. And I'm like, oh, like, and I didn't even have a chance to like, I did not have a chance to disclose. So, I was like, oh, hey, let me, pull you to the side. We had this conversation, and he was like freaked out, highly upset, all these different things, whatever.
Oh,
I then end up meeting this other guy who who just almost erased that entire situation and just grabbed my hand and never let it go until the next morning. Like we were just like
same
connected
night.
the same night. The
Okay,
same night.
you were
This
here,
the
Angelica.
same night. No, listen, I was just there. Like no, but this guy it was great. Anyway, so we're in this area and we're talking with a bunch of friends, and I meet this beautiful African woman, and she's like telling me about we're having all these conversations just about random stuff. And I was just talking about me being an artist and how, I was always jealous of the white kids in my town coming up because every time I visited their home, they would have a piano in their house. And I play piano from ear, by ear on this little Casio keyboard, but we couldn't afford a piano. So I would have to like stay after school to play the piano. And I just felt like as an artist, it would have been so much better if I had a piano in the house. And this woman told me, she said, Angelica, she is like, but you have to understand, it was your determination to make your way to the piano,
Come on.
even though you did not have one, that
Come on.
made you an artist. Just having a piano in the house does not make you an artist.
Okay. Baby.
So,
You
so, so I want to connect the dots a little bit, because what I think is happening here is, as trans people, we have been trying to make room and create room for everyone to feel welcome and everyone to feel like they're not trapped in this binary of, gender and all these different things. And in doing so, I think that it's added sometimes a little confusion, because we say that non-binary people are under the trans umbrella. And when we say that, we also sometimes say in shorthand, non-binary is also trans, right? And so that, instead of, when we say that, people think trans women, trans men, trans people, and they don't necessarily think trans, the umbrella term. And so I know that there are a lot of trans women specifically who are looking at folks like, I know you damn lying to me that I have risked my life
Hello.
socially transitioning, looking awkward in this dress, looking awkward at first in my makeup, or in this wig that wasn't the best priced wig. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't get the good stuff right away.
Drawing on mustaches and goatees, you know.
Tweezing and having to do with electrolysis and getting zapped. And like, one thing that women know, and we always say, is beauty knows no pain, girls, is because men, cisgender men, we see videos of them even experience the smallest amount of pain that women go through to beautify when they wax their chests or do certain things. So I say, and I'm going to kick this off to you as well. And I see that Brianna and the girls have joined the chat.
Okay, hi, girl.
The girls have joined the chat. And so because the girls have joined the chat, I want to make sure that y'all have this number, because Erin and I are going to kick this off and start to get to talking. But you can text me at 1-888-991-2946, and I'll text you back with the studio link so you can join this conversation with us live. So matter of fact, as I'm saying that right now, I'm going to open a window right now so that I can see the text message window as they roll in. We're going to keep this conversation respectful and all the different things, but we are going to get down to the nitty gritty.
She's just saying that to me. That's not even for y'all.
Wait.
I was just saying that to me to keep me on my.
I am saying that to Erin, absolutely, because Erin be airing it out. Erin be airing it out. So, I'm kicking it off to you because basically to say that I think that this might have been, and I might be tapping into some more murky territory, but I think that this also might have been the issue initially that some women, cisgender women, may have had with their understanding of trans women, and thinking that, do you understand what it means to walk and be a woman in this world? Like, you just can't wake up one day and call yourself a woman, you know what I mean, in a sense. And I kind of understand what they're saying. I think somebody's calling that number right now. Do not call that number. Please just text that number, and I will text you with that link. I heard
we have thoughts. We have feedback.
Maybe they said we have thoughts, we have feedback. So I kind of understand in the sense that you don't know, like we didn't know until we walked out the door.
Baby.
And were read as women in the world what this was really gonna be. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I have felt left out by my mother in the sense of there's so much that I could have learned from my mother if she would have accepted me as a trans woman and passed down to me the wisdom and the warnings that I would have needed dating cisgender straight identified men. And so it is through that day in and day out, getting up every day, not taking it off, not deciding today I'm not going to do it because I don't want to deal with the pressure. I don't want to deal with the heat of society. We know right now that there are people who detransition because of the heat, because of how hot the heat can get. It's enough just being human in this world and trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Now you want to be trans too? But the people who are trans women and trans men like that, the argument that we be having a lot is that we don't have this ain't a, I know y'all think it's a choice, but the choice for me is life and death. It's not about what to wear today.
Yeah.
What are your comments on that?
Okay. For starters, thank you for having me, Angelica. I'm still kind of on Captain Zero. I love Invincible. I love superhero stuff, so I'm really excited to see
Yes.
that. I was really excited seeing the clip, and y'all got Keith David. So I just want to say shout out to y'all and sorry to Z um, ahead of time for what I'm going to say. Because
Yes.
it's really all love. I think what I have to say about non binary identity is I don't know if I still would categorize non binary identity as we know it today as trans. And I think even over the years, I have moved away from trans as an identifier for myself because I do feel like because of all the work that was done, like you mentioned, the door has been left open, and I'm not interested in it getting twisted. I think when we talk about people being able to take things on and take things off and put things back on, I agree. The price of admission for being who you are is gagging in the world. I was saying, a lot of, and I hate to use Z as an example, but I don't exactly get the point, I think, of some people's identifying as non binary. I think for Black people, Black masculine people, or Black people who are read as men, I think it's really powerful that people identify as men and be as flowery or as interested in aesthetic beauty, as they want to be, because men are human beings and human beings have a wide range of expression and emotions and feelings. I think over the past maybe 5, 6 years, um, the how slippery this conversation is has allowed a lot of people who are not fucking trans to take up a lot of space in a conversation that they actually don't know anything about. And that was something I saw, not anything about, but they don't understand the depths of the plight and of the walk. And I also, just a little history piece, I think when we're talking about Olay and Friends and how she played, because there was a narrative about Deshawn, who was the non-binary panelist for that conversation, and my focus was never on Deshawn, even though I didn't feel like Deshawn needed to be there. Um,
Right.
my focus was on Olay as a woman who dates men, as a Black woman who has some fucking sense and would like to date a man who has some fucking sense. She has had to stray from Black people, just like Laverne and just like even Dominique and Kat mentioned in that same conversation. But back to my leaving the door open. I swear they're connected.
I know
Just
it is. I'm with you.
um, so over the past maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 or 8 years, because the non-binary conversation is so slippery. When we say that nigga is a nigga, this is not nobody non-binary. What are y'all talking about? Like there is nothing in this person's life that speaks to them shifting socially or even personally, physically. There's none of that there. So what ends up happening is these people and their theoretical genders end up silencing trans people who are like, hold on a second. That doesn't make sense to us, or that doesn't align with us. Then it's, how are y'all telling me I'm also a trans person?
Right.
Now y'all are actually being transphobic. And then how that connects back to Olay's ass playing a game is it's almost like you bring a non-binary person into a space, a non-binary person that I'm sure maybe was called sir or ma'am or whatever on their way over there and did not stop to correct anybody because they didn't need to. You bring one of those people into the space with trans people who have risk, like you said, have risk being beaten up, have risk being just ridiculed, have risk losing housing, have risk losing access to healthcare and access to work. You bring these people in, and when those people say something, it's y'all are transphobic because if y'all just want to say y'all are women, because this is what's not being said, right? What's not being said is all of us are full of shit. So when we say y'all are full of shit, cis people get to be like, now hold on, bitch. Y'all all playing make believe in my motherfucking face. Y'all all just some niggas. So Olay on her call was like, as a cis, I don't think cis people need to say anything about this. And I'm like, Deshaun has a beautiful glistening beard. Where, where in your mind does this call full of Black women, you see Deshaun in this
Well,
conversation, but you don't see yourself?
and I want to tap into that because
Mhm.
I agree with you too that Olay saying, it's not her place, cis people, blah blah blah. She carried for that, yes, because what
It's
she,
also
I think what she unintentionally did another separation between black trans and cis women because this was actually the conversation that could show how we were much more alike than we are different.
yeah.
She could have chimed in even more, actually, than Deshaun in the sense that, as like you just said, as a black cis woman looking for options and dating black cis men and having to go outside of her race even though she doesn't want to, but she's like doing that to look for love. That was very valuable for that conversation. But I think what some of the disrespect that was felt from certain people, myself included, about some of the way that was done is that people I said this before on the last line, but people get so wrapped up in the theory of transness, and they don't know enough about the practical.
Mhm.
Because
They don't care.
Deshaun, you can tell me a lot about the theory about all of this because I was picking up a lot of what you're talking about desire and all these different things, but you can't tell me shit about the practical of being a black trans woman. So,
The-
like, being trans is one thing as an umbrella thing, but you literally can't tell me shit about the practical side of being a trans woman. And so, therefore, I felt offended, and again, not in the way of like just like oh my god, but the offense for me is in the continual experience of black trans women being provided with someone who's supposed to know better than them, somebody who's brought in as the expert, as the academic, as the medical expert, and all these things. So we have had to navigate so many hoops to access hormone therapy, to access certain things, to go through someone who tells us that they know better than us what our journey should be. So much so that the way that a lot of this started out, that medical complex actually screwed some people up because they were trying to tell you this is point A and point B. Being trans means you start here and then you're going to transition, when that wasn't the thing for everybody. When trans people needed to learn how to listen to their intuition, this trans thing was this thing needed to be about the practical more than it is theory. And the people who are actually going through the things are the people who are the writers of the the actual theory. The academia only comes but so close. And I thought it was just kind of it was an interesting, disrespectful thing to put this person in a place that made it seem like they are, again, of a different identity than these trans women,
Yeah.
who is now telling Laverne what she needs to know is truth, and telling her about her experience I thought it was just
First off,
so.
you were a victim, Deshaun Carey.
Because the thing is, I'm just not sure that you could call Laverne is being. I think Laverne is being as transparent as she could be.
Laverne is tickets also. Let's be clear. I mean, listen, I hate to cut you off, Angelica, but
No,
it's
you're
no
not.
opportunity
You're
wasted.
not.
So I can't have the opportunity to say something while you're saying this right now. But Laverne is trying to sell tickets, okay? Laverne don't care for real what none of those bitches think. Laverne, when was the last, and this is no shade to Mother Laverne, when's the last viral moment Laverne had? You know? The trans shit, the ship has sailed. And I think one thing about this conversation and so many of the conversations we're having is we tried all of the everybody has an identity, everybody's identity is valid, everybody has a piece of the pie and a stake in the conversation. We tried that shit, it didn't work. Now we are under a motherfucking fascist, blatantly, let me say blatantly fascist regime. And trans people, people specifically who go after medical and social transitions, are one of the primary targets of this fucking administration. So for me, some of this stuff is we can just cut the shit. Like Laverne
Absolutely.
sale. Laverne is as accountable as she is to getting more work, like most of us are. Like she dates white dudes. And one thing I'm not going to do is pretend that there is like, are there white people that are not racist? Like, are there white people that are not
Okay,
anti?
wait. Let's not let's leave. I know you wasn't leaving that as a rhetorical question, but
Uh-huh.
I do wanna hop on that question. I
Okay,
wanna
cool.
hop on that question because I think people do need to understand this. Are all white people racist?
Yeah.
Yes. The answer the answer is yes.
Like,
Now the longer answer, and adding something into that, is that because of the world that we are raised in, whiteness starts out the way that it is until you interrogate it. So basically, it's like this: are all people ableist?
yes.
Yes. We live in a society that is ableist. I am ableist AF, and I am disabled.
Hello.
Okay? So disabled people internalize. We all can internalize these things, but I just wanted to tap on that question real quick because Laverne also is someone who knows that.
Right.
So for her to know that if all white people are sus, until they let you know, or until they are showing that they are interrogating their whiteness, and
You
you're
think it
telling.
was race play?
I don't think it was race play. The reason why I don't think it was race play, because I don't see Laverne getting down like that. I really don't. I just think that Laverne. This is why I didn't want to initially have the conversation, because I thought Laverne was playing a little bit, in the sense that, why are you having this conversation publicly? Because if I'm going to be on that panel and we have that conversation publicly, you might end up mad at me, because I'm not coming to play. I'm not coming to just fluff pillows and stuff. So Laverne and I have had certain these conversations. Laverne recently was featured on a podcast, High Key, and she said on that podcast how she realized that she was groomed to make white people make white people feel good, or what I'm saying, like to cater to whiteness, growing up in the space and these programs or whatever. And the thing is I think I so there's just like this small room for human behavior. And I'll say that because I'll say, like, I also grew up in a space where I was in the gifted and talented, and I was surrounded by white kids in my class. You know, I also I think I also internalized a value of whiteness
Didn't we?
growing up. We all did. And so there was a point when I was 25, and I was dating this man, and I spoke about this in the last thing, and people were like, "Oh, somebody said Angelica's just trying to prove she could tell a worse story than Laverne," because I was talking about me being in a relationship for 8 years with this white man, but he was not a cop. He was
Mm,
not a Republican, and he was not a MAGA person. He was one of those well meaning white people. And this is what I need y'all to understand is that, folks, that's why Michelle Williams also, I think, ended up divorcing her husband at one point, is because when we're on the surface with white people, especially well-meaning white people, then we just on the surface. They're not being overtly racist about certain things. They even got black friends.
right.
But it comes down to when you really get to know somebody and their underlying beliefs, and how those beliefs can be anti-black, which is so anti-black is a part of racism, but it's like it's just something that is more can be more unconscious and subconscious than sometimes overt racism. So that's the way that went. I want to also bring on somebody onto the stage. I don't know who this is. Hey, girl, wait, I'm gonna
Oh,
see. Wait, is she still there? Yeah, I think she's the Queen Tulsa. Are you still there? Do you want to jump on real quick? So we're gonna bring her on. We're gonna do a three-way here.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey
a
sis,
three-way.
yes. Kai Kai.
How y'all doing, ladies?
How are
good.
you
How are you?
doing?
Hi, Ron.
Greetings. Yes, my name is Queen Tulsa, and
Thank you for joining us.
I'm based out of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes.
I really appreciate you, ladies' views. And what was your name? I know Miss Angelica. What was your name?
I'm Erin Lang.
Miss Erin Lane. Okay. Yeah, I
Yes.
just wanted to come up here and join in wherever y'all let me go in.
Yes. Well, listen, I want to get your feedback on, like, how are you feeling about sort of the gray line between folks, trans people who have
It's
faced the challenge of whether it is, walking in the hood as a trans woman, or whether that is facing the medical industrial complex that thinks you're crazy, all these different things. What do you say about the sort of spectrum between trans and non-binary folks?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that question. I'm here in Oklahoma. It's a Republican state. Uh, I went to the DMV. I'll give you an example. I went to the DMV. I applied for a driver's license, a renewal in December. Didn't get it. One in June or April. Didn't get it. I went there on June 4th. It was a whole situation. They saw me trans. It alerted them. They felt like, I don't know, it was one woman, she just felt a certain type of way. I go back today to pick up my driver's license, and they're asking me for my name change paper. My name has been changed since 2018. Um,
They're asking you to reproduce documents that you already produced.
Reproduce documents, and it's like it's a mockery. Now you want to bring up my dead name. Now you want to really verify who this is. Oh, it could be fraud, this, that, and the third, but no, you want to be nosy. Um, we're looked at as like experiments. Like the guys look at us like fetishes. If we happen to be attractive woman in a relationship, people are going to give you this side eye because they're some, not all, because how is this man got everything and I'm still over here chasing down my baby daddy?
Right, right, right,
You
right.
know what I'm saying?
They, because people are told, if you go down this road, if you do this, whether you're in church or this thing, that you're supposed to experience hell. And when you don't, and you're starting to experience a little bit of heaven, they're wondering, are they reading the wrong Bible? Because they think told them that they were supposed to receive the kingdom and everything else, and they getting beat on by the man who's supposed to be claiming that they're his king, that they're their kings.
The
You
girls are
know
getting beat on too now, y'all.
what's that?
I said the girls are getting beat on too now, y'all.
Well, that's what I'm saying. No, the girl, we
Cunt.
all. That's what I'm saying. We no, we. But I'm saying is that like this
We're
worrying
all getting
about
beat on. Like we talk about community, heterosexual women,
everybody.
transsexual women, men are, if they have that in them, they're going to put their hands on you. So
Wait,
it affects us
wait,
all as women.
listen to this. So this is where it comes down to, because I think this is where we're about to get into it a little bit. Because
Okay.
I see this person's comment where they're saying YouTube academia, and again, academia is saying replying to someone saying they should read more gender studies. Lived experience is not enough to speak politically correct on these subjects. And
I,
this is what us as
I
trans
don't
women are trying to tell you. You say what's that?
I don't fully disagree with that.
I
Um,
don't disagree that that reading gender studies is a good thing to do, but and I don't disagree that lived experience alone,
mhm,
but it is an assumption
right.
to assume that black trans women are not well read.
Right. That was a huge part of that conversation. The idea that between those women there wasn't enough scholarship or understanding about desire to really, really dig into it. I think when we talk about women and gender studies versus people don't even believe the experiences of the girl. You could literally say, I walk out the house. I fucking twerk with men. I fucking kiss and date and whatever. And nobody ever knows. And people are like, nigga, please get out of here. No matter how beautiful you are or whatever, people just don't want to believe it. I lost my train of thought. I ain't even gonna hold y'all.
No, 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 you good. But I want to also, okay, so because we're breaking this down in a couple of different ways.
Remember now.
So I want to, we believe in expansive gender liberation, but we just have to talk about, we got to talk about how the labor of trans people has been co opted or overshadowed.
Erase.
Like the erase, yeah. And that,
You know,
listen, and so what we're saying in the situation is because someone was commenting that maybe that they were thinking that Deshaun wasn't taking up too much space and authority, but the thing is that uh, you're talking to trans women, and what the thing that is that when trans women are telling you what their experience is and what they're feeling, how is it that our experience gets pushed to the back in this? And all of a sudden, I saw trans women, and I get it that Quay definitely owed Deshaun an apology. You know what I'm saying? Because she was a little bit out of pocket. I think she was rude. I would say that, to say the least. I know she was trying to be
played
a
a couple
comedian, but
games.
she was being a little rude. And so I think that she should have apologized. But me then seeing videos of Hope Giselle and other folks apologizing, I'm like, now why are the trans women all of a sudden now apologizing for a space that should have been centering them in the first place?
Yeah. I think I just think we have lost the plot severely. Because for me, that conversation, as interesting as the conversation was, it feels, y'all know that clip of Monique, like, is this who we are? Is this what we stand for? That is kind of what the whole dialogue kind of feels like to me. Because again, when we talk about the labor being erased, what we're really talking about was it was like a multiple prong attack, on systemic transphobia. It was targeting government, it was targeting healthcare, it was targeting us interpersonally, it was also targeting representation. That was to literally save our lives. When I started being in movement work, organizing, what have you, we were begging people to understand that Black trans people were facing a literal genocide in the United States. It wasn't just about, I know so much about this, you all need to be educated on it. It was literally, we are able to be denied every single part of the American dream because of who we are. Like getting fired literally just for being trans. You could be doing a great job. Being denied housing literally just because you're trans. You could have the money and the credit score. So when we talk about this separation, I don't think it's gray. I think it's black. It's two different things. And I posted a video on my Instagram where I said, I think trans people are non binary, period, right? Because the binary, when we talk about the binary,
And
this
you
is
know that people, you know that some people have that think it's the completely the opposite. They
no,
think
some
that we
people
as
are
trans
full of
people are meant to, that we're trans because that we're trying to gravitate, that they think that we want to be binary. I mean,
well, but
I
some of
get,
us do, you
yes,
know?
yes,
Some of us
yes.
do. I think the thing for me, and this is what I think people use against people like us who are able to have a really full conversation about all of this. It's complicated. It is extremely complicated. It is extremely murky. Like, so it's not just a people don't want to be binary. People do want to be binary. People are binary and will live that way. But my thing is to believe in the gender binary. To believe in the gender binary is to believe you cannot manipulate it. You cannot believe that the gender binary is a real thing and believe that you can manipulate it.
Right,
Most
right.
people are trying to survive in a world that is not built for them. So I get offended at people who, I said, I was like, even the bitch you see walking down the street with the three strands of hair, dyed rainbow color, and the ill-fitting dress, honey, and the fucking little girl ass book bag. That bitch is risking something to be out there. The cost of admission is gagging, okay? You
I
don't get
love that you said that. You know what, Erin, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and put that on a T-shirt. I'm gonna need you
what the cost of admission is gagging.
yes, you need to go ahead and put that on a T-shirt and put your name, Erin
Because
Lane.
it's true. It's
Yes,
true.
yes,
You have to, all you're doing is taking up space and shutting up trans people who really embody and live this life if you haven't paid the price of admission. It is not enough for you to say people get confused about my gender or whatever, so I want to relinquish my gender, and then y'all have to. It's not enough for me because people like Boy George exist. People like Grace Jones exist. People like Michael fucking Jackson exist. People like Prince exist. Non binary people have been around forever. What our fight was to secure our ability to literally live.
yes,
Literally live. So when
absolutely.
bitches come in trying to throw textbooks and trying to art, bitch, I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I don't give a fuck about it from cis identified people, and I don't give a fuck about it from non-binary cis people. Because one thing I also know is that the scholarship that women like us have been able to share, the stories we have been able to put to the forefront, has made space for bitches who have not paid the cost of admission to cartwheel and dance and shit that they don't know. They don't know the cost of the oil in our alabaster boxes, bitch. Not you, bitch.
No,
Bitches.
I know, girl. I know. Again, I think
Bitch.
that some cis folks just have been accusing us of being like trying to be exclusive or transphobic. But what we're really just
It
doing
is
is
exclusive.
actually, well, we're actually calling for accountability though to center those who are most impacted. Is setting the record straight. Exclusive. Yes, we're being exclusive in the way of saying we're speaking exclusively to this
Yeah.
intersection. That's what we're doing, but we're not trying to exclude anyone. Just in the ways of, like even as a woman, like as a trans woman,
Mhm.
I know, like we're fighting for trans and cis women to understand about our shared experiences and those things that really do affect all of us. But there are some conversations that have to deal with cis women that ain't got to deal with me as a trans woman.
Yeah.
And I am not trying to take up space in that conversation. I can be here to support, I can be here to some things, but I can't take up too much space when we're talking about having babies or menstruation or blah blah blah. We might have to add a trans man into that, you know, or whatever the case is. But it is I that's why I think that some spaces, you know, when we have these conversations about exclusive women's spaces, all these different things, I think people are being a little too obtuse around this. I think that every identity deserves exclusive space. I think that there, just like we used to do. So let me even explain it this way. I know you when we used to go to
Oh,
creating,
right.
and we would do the Racial Justice Institute, and we would start, and it was an all day thing. When we start in the beginning of the day, and we make sure everybody in the same room, we're all on the same page. There is no such thing as reverse racism. Racism is a system and defining and all these different things. And then we would break into cohorts where white people, if this is your first time having this conversation, you go into room A. White people, if this is, you've been at this a couple times, you can go into room C and blah blah blah. And black people, biracial, you know, they will break it all down into these affinity groups. And the reason why they did that is so that they could talk freely without embarrassment, and white people could say all of the racist jokes that they heard when they were growing up and put it all on the table about, and not have black, because you know it can be triggering for us to sit there and see you recalling your racist stories from your family, and then also maybe not look at you kind of sideways about it too.
I'm
So
looking sideways. Tell me the story.
so you know what I mean? So like fully being able to put all that out and then coming into the greater thing and bringing what we learned and all those things back into the full cohort. I think we can do the same thing here. Is there are things that like cis women can get together and, you know, have certain things that they get together, but we as women, we can get together and all have a different conversation. It doesn't have to be, but when it comes down to being to sports and all of these different things, one thing that you're correct about is when it comes to being a trans person, our fight has been about living. Our fight is literally so that we don't get murdered, that we can have access to health care, that we can actually have a job and not get fired from our job because our IDs don't match. There are so many, I can't tell you about how many non-binary queer people I know have great jobs in the LGBTQ
Yeah, baby.
at the LGBTQ centers. You know, and
They be
again,
like
there's
she/they. I'm the trans. I'm filling the trans quota here, and they're like
and
that.
and and again, and it pushes trans people out in such a way where it's like, how are we being pushed out of rooms that we help build? I want to bring back on Queen, bring back on Queen in here. Now, I wanted to talk too about, let me go back to my little points here. You know, I do want to make it clear though that gender norms,
Mhm.
gender rules, they hurt all of us.
Yes.
They stunt men's emotions. They stunt a lot of things. And you know, when I want people to feel unburdened by gender,
Mhm.
um, I want men to embrace their feminine side. I want women to embrace their more aggressive or masculine, whatever they consider, you know, masculine sides. I think us as trans people were sent here to kind of help people free their minds, you know, from these things, but not to co-opt something that is not your experience. And this is when I'm talking about experience. Like, our experiences in our bodies are going to be different. I thought it was so disingenuous of people to think that we are trying to police gender by the way that Deshaun was showing up, you know, with the beard. But the situation is, I, along with several other people who were like in support of Deshaun, were misgendering Deshaun while they were referring to Deshaun. I accidentally misgendered Deshaun, bringing them up on a tweet. Then I saw somebody doing. Oh, then we were on the show last week, and Jerome was speaking with Brianna, and in their recollection of the story, they said he instead of they, and it was an accident. But so did another creator on YouTube who went to Laverne's show and then end up saying the same thing. So let's not be obtuse about what we're working through here. We want to respect people's pronouns, but the reality is a lot of that is going on when you're non-binary and cis presenting. This is where I think that maybe Craig, with T.S. Madison, them might have been, because I don't see a lot of trans people, like people who are medically transitioned, and so I don't see a lot of them beating people up all the time about their pronouns, especially especially when they see that people are trying, that people are want to get it right and blah blah blah. But when I tell you, I be feeling. Oh, I be sweating bullets sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because I be messing up all the time with non-binary pronouns when they're cis presenting. Now I say that because because I'll say someone like Alok, and someone wrote into the chat, Alok must be stopped. I don't know what what that's all about.
The commentary is
somebody said the look must be stopped. But the thing is that the one thing with the Loke, wearing the dresses and the colorful hair and all this stuff, while also having, all this like body hair coming out of everywhere, what have you. But the thing is, at least I understand that this person is, I could say she, because she's wearing, I think she's putting in some effort and is gagging folks. Now, part of the gag is about how many of those colors don't go together, or those patterns that don't go together. That's part of the gag. Like sometimes it be such a visual thing. Like I'm just calling out being for real.
No, it's true. It's true.
Sometimes it's a visual gag, in those ways. And what I know about Alok is, I think that Alok is brilliant. And I think that they help to strike up conversation that deepens the conversation in the same ways that I think Deshaun helps to deepen the conversations. I just think that, I don't see this now with Alok now, but I know back in the day, we were all kind of a little bit, everybody was like tussling between, the trans group and the non-binary, because non-binary folks were actually calling trans people out as a problem because a lot of us identify more on the binary side.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you want to add anything else, Queen Tulsa, to the combo?
No, I was just going to excuse myself. I had waited so long and I didn't know that this was a two-party conversation. So I'll come back next time.
No worries. Thank you so much. But so it's basically, it's not like you can always jump in onto the things, but what I try to do on here, just so you guys know when you come on as guests and things like that. Well, yeah, no, but also just I'm gonna pull you on and pull you off at different times, just depending on what happens. Like when you had to step off screen for a second, I pulled you off and then found the right time to pull you back on and all the different things. But feel free to jump in at any time. Rick says also love me some Alok any day. Yeah, so I do love Alok. I think that Alok has brought some beautiful commentary into the space that is really help people think about things. And I also think that Alok seems to, at this time, I think they seem to navigate the places well and not taking up too much space in Black trans conversations.
Yes.
But also what seems to happen is, and maybe you can tap into this, is it seems like sometimes though also the non-binary folks and the butch queens end up getting the opportunities. Once the world starts to come on to certain things, it seems as if they might be handed opportunities quicker than the girls are. Like you'll see, like I know that Laomi, one of the things that I know that Laomi mentioned back when, I don't know if it's been, changed or anything like that, but I know that they had an issue with the fact that all this talk about the girls and whatever, but the girls aren't at the Renaissance concert. They're not in, meaning they're not being hired as the dancers. They're getting more people who are more in the non-binary space. We know like Honey slays down. Honey is, just really slays that space up. But also, we know that Laomi would have carried too. You know what I'm saying? Like and so why couldn't there also been obvious black trans women there as well? But again, we get what we get. T.S. Madison's on the track. With Cozy and what's that?
Look, I'm trying not to cut you off.
No, please do, please do.
Renaissance for me, that one hurt deep for me because I think, I see a lot of things as symbolic, right? So to me, one thing, I'm so happy for T.S. Madison. I love T.S. Madison. I would love to key with her. She might call me a low down dirty bitch, but that's okay. I still love her. But T.S. Madison has a certain viewpoint, right? She sees the girls a certain way. And to me, Beyonce is the type of artist who she doesn't really say things directly. She indirectly kind of says what she stands for. And to me, T.S. Madison is a woman that she lives with a very clear distinction between trans women
And
and
cis women, yeah.
to the point that she will key at trans women who say they experience certain things. So to me, I'm like, Beyonce, in my head, Beyonce feels similarly, right? But it hurt me so deep because how could you, how could you have a whole album about a subculture that was literally pioneered by a Black woman not being able to get her just due in a white space, like a subculture that was created literally on the backs of fucking white supremacy and anti Blackness as a response to that, that has lived on to be a space where some of our brightest stars are able to shine, a space where these women were mothers to literal community members. And you can't even in your fucking remix of Vogue name one of the girls. You can't even let Laomi come out. I know the girls is out of shape, you know. You couldn't let a girl come out and do a little lazy fucking 1-2 or something just for the simple fact that this whole production comes from Black trans women.
Well, did you think that what did you think about Black is King? The reason why I asked that,
Yeah.
I love Black is King. I thought it was one of her most just epic projects,
Yeah.
but I thought also similarly, I thought that you went into a niche of blackness, and I felt like the queerness was missing. Like that, the fact that we know that we've been here from the beginning of times, even though we talk about the queerness of Africa. Did you see that represented in the fabric of that? Because I always feel like the conversation is a separate conversation of like as if blackness and queerness are mutually exclusive and not showing that the sort of that it's.
I'm challenged with that a little bit. Um,
I'm asking because
yeah,
I just didn't see any queerness in that. That's the one thing I felt like we got a separate project with Renaissance, which was wonderful that that she gave that flowers to that. But again, it was just an illustration of me of when people don't maybe understand the fullness of how those things are go together.
yeah. I think with like Beyonce is not queer, not to our knowledge, right? So I don't really expect. I have like moved away from kind of expecting people to implant things that they don't really know shit about. I think that has led a lot of our media astray over the past decade, where like, and just like that was a shit show because they couldn't just be problematic rich white ladies. They now all of a sudden had to be down with the fucking queers and learning about trans. I don't need Carrie Bradshaw to know they them. I don't. I want her talking about shoes and sex. Like I don't need that from her. And I think that idea that everything needs to have something for everybody has fucked up just a lot of the.
I hear you there.
But I think for Renaissance, that is specifically for and supposed to be in honor of this culture, of these people. And I know it's a deliberate decision to leave the girls out because people are, and this is piggybacking on Alok and even Deshaun, people are way more comfortable with Alok being non-binary than if I were to walk around and try to say all these things about being non-binary and how everybody is hiding their true self. People don't want to hear that from me because people are uncomfortable with the existence of the girls. I can't explain why that is. I'm sure maybe Deshaun or Alok could. But I can't explain why that is, but there is something. People have an acceptable tranny. Ooh, I'm sorry. People have an acceptable trans person in their head. And it's somebody who they can still be like, that's a nigga though, right? Like, that's what they want. They want somebody who like, I get it. When I see you, I see clown. I see whatever. That makes sense. But then we have you, Angelica Ross, looking like you are from planet like Black Beauty, bitch.
Thank
Like
you.
they don't want to hear what your experience is because that makes people uncomfortable, the reality of it all. And I would say,
Because the reality of my experience, when I talk to men, the reality of my experience when I meet cisgender men, I there's so much I experience that is can be shared with cis women who date because they read me that way. And then when I meet them, these men, when I meet them, they button up. They button up like they button up for any woman that they are trying to, they know they have to work for. They button up until the moment I say that I'm trans. Then they unbutton. Then they unzip.
oh, nigga, you've been playing with me this whole time. You almost got me.
Well, no, then they unzip. Then they want to do be sexual. Then they want to
Oh,
just
you
be
can literally unzip like
they
such.
I literally unzip. And so what I mean by that is this is that and then I have these men, I have these conversations with them and I'm like, so if you found the love of your life and she told you after some time that she was not able to have children medically and not able to have children as a cis woman, would you break it off with her? And there were some men, and it just was different. There were some men who said, yes, I would want to have kids of my own. And there's some men who said, well, I guess if you put it that way, no, I don't see, and men who don't see women's body parts as just a baby factory and that's the only thing that they're good for, they're like, oh, you know what? Actually, well, maybe we could have, I see what you're saying that, they see that experience. And then I also then pull out of myself, I'm like, well, actually, then it's not a uniquely trans experience for me to be rejected because I can't have kids.
Yeah.
And I can feel, again, I can't completely I can't completely tell you how a cis woman feels to be infertile, to not have children or what have you, but I
She
can
feel
tell
like
you
a man.
what's that?
She feel like a man.
You said she feel like a man. Well, I don't know. I can't speak on their behalf and know how they feel, but what I know is that like I used to go to the airport and I remember just like looking over and seeing them folding up the husbands helping fold up the thing so they can get on the airport. Somebody's got a baby on their back and the thing, and I'm just looking like there used to be a time in my life, and I'm just like I'm never gonna be able to have that family experience,
Yeah.
and so much so that girl life gagged me some years ago in 2020, some of y'all will remember this, that I got dragged across the blogs and everything else because I had dated a man that I didn't know was already engaged and had a baby. And
Oh, sister, I keyed in the name, but I felt so sad because I was like, oh, the girls want a black man, you know?
girl, listen, I did not know. I never am able to tap into my fame when I want to. It never seems that I could just be like, oh, here I am, go to the bank. It's supposed to do something.
Mhm.
But the moment some drama happens, I know I'm famous. Girl, when I tell you I wanted to dye my hair, wear a wig and glasses for like a month because I
Oh,
was, girl, I was on page 6. I was on
oh, they
Portia Williams and the Brat talking about me
oh,
on
they
Dish Nation.
period on
And
you.
I was mad at the Brat because the Brat's like, now Angelica in the wrong for putting his business out there like that and blah blah blah. I'm like, hold up. What do you mean like that I'm putting out there that he's dating? I'm like, first of all, I'm post-op. So I'm not putting anything. The only thing he's seen is a vagina.
Mm-hmm. She says
So
it's clear.
you're letting me know that you don't know that there is also pre-op and post-op trans women.
You
And
know,
secondly, that man told me, to put that information out there. And
mhm.
so he knew that he had the situation going. Long story short, I'm standing in my kitchen. I'm telling T. I'm standing in my kitchen and we all in the text message thing talking about his baby mama, his ex-fiance, whatever. They all want to talk. We all want to talk. Oh, everybody got to talk, I guess. We all got to talk. So we in,
Together? Oh my gosh. Okay, go on.
we in my kitchen. She crying. He crying. The baby crying. And she's just like trying to get down to it. And she's like, so this, you really want to be with her and blah, 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 this and that. And, he's telling her, yeah, this, that, and la, la, la.
How
And,
old was the baby?
okay, so let me just tell you, look, the baby was a baby. The baby was not like baby cuckoo, caca, but the baby was still not fully speaking words. Let's just say that. The baby was,
Okay.
it was a baby, right?
It
And
was, we were 12, still in the 12 months or past 12 months?
I think past 12, I think
Okay. Like 18 months or something.
something around there, something around there. I don't know children like that. I really don't. Now, remember I told you, I'm in the airport
Uh-huh.
having dysphoric episodes because I'm thinking I'll never be able to have my family experience.
Uh-huh.
When I tell you this girl said, okay, well, I'm just letting you know, you going to take care of this kid. If you going to have a life, I'm going to have a life too. And she handed the baby to him. She said, here you go. She said, I'll see you tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. She left. So then here I am standing in my kitchen with my man and a baby.
How long you last with the baby girl? That's what I want to know.
About a couple of days. I said like no, but because what had happened was I literally was standing there and my mind was like, well, how else did you think it was going to happen?
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, but not like this. Like, I don't want no dude that's barely not taking care of his kids and, wanting to escape from, all this and not being upfront about things because the way you get them is the way you'll lose them type situation. I don't want that. He has been begging me to take him back for years. I have not taken him back.
The baby ain't starting yet?
Who knows, girl? I didn't checked out from that thing, but I know that when I tell you the baby mama wanted to be my best friend. She was a fan, so that's why she couldn't be too mad at me.
Okay. She said, I guess you could do worse. I guess you could have a different.
Brianna said, life comes at you fast, honey. It sure does. I don't want to gloss over. I saw there was a little kerfluffle going on in the text message. I mean, in the chat room. People were going at it. I don't know why. And Brianna, I saw. I don't know. I saw Queen was. I just don't know. There was some attitude and things going on,
Oh, what was Blondie who was on the call?
Yeah. And so they were just in the chat message, like going back and forth, like real bad.
Oh no, Diva, it's okay. We just want
Yeah.
to be honest, and no shade, sis. We were not talking about like the DMV and stuff. And I think it's also okay for that not to be the topic of
But
conversation.
but I think what she was saying though was very, was for the conversation of saying the things that we go through as trans people, having to show up in these public places to bring documents and do all of these different things and have to go to court for the documents, pay all the stuff that we pay for in sweat, blood, and tears being a trans person. Needs to be considered and needs to stop being discarded as if we don't know what we're talking about. And because, baby, I've read gender theory books too. Julia Serrano, that's my girl too. And Julia Serrano is actually a white trans woman who's very much academic. I think she's even like some kind of scientist and biologist.
That's Whipping Girl, right? Who wrote Whipping Girl?
Julia Serrano.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, right.
And that's what they don't understand is for many of us trans girls, especially back in Whipping Girl was like 101 reading. It's when you were getting into the academia of it all. Like Julia Serrano wrote the hell out of that book. So like, Queen, you want to get on and you want to, Erin, hold 1 second. I'm going to bring.
I'll come back trying to read now, Queen.
Okay, hold on 1 second. We're gonna bring you on because it's all good. I'm hoping.
So, were you the one that was texting me in the chat, Erin, Aeon?
No.
Me?
Okay.
No.
I was up here and I was speaking about an experience, but you know what? This is the divide in the trans community. When a girl is out here trying to find a space, is individuals that make us feel uncomfortable. And to where
What
we
made
don't
you feel uncomfortable?
because I don't like mean girls. If this is our first time meeting, and
But
this is how you asked me.
So what was
I'm finishing.
Yeah.
The energy up here, y'all were both talking. I mean, it was a lot. I was trying to be polite and talk when I had the chance to, but y'all were having a conversation. You never let the conversation. Well, let's let Queen speak. She's been here, she's been quiet and things like that. So and then all this, the pre-op and all that, and the white and the this, that. My husband is white, and I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna love him.
There's nothing wrong with dating white people.
I just said all white people were
It was an opinion that was stated earlier.
What opinion?
That all white people are racist.
So you don't believe that?
You work with white people?
So this
I'm trying to figure out what's the complaint.
Yes.
What's the complaint?
Listen. So we can have this conversation. The reason why we say this, that's shorthand euphemism in academia spaces. So it's shorthand euphemisms to say that all white people are racist because it gets people to say like, what? It's a euphemism. But the reality is in academic spaces, we're talking about, just like we explained the fact of being ableist, that we are brought into a world that centers able-bodied people and centers whiteness. And if you are white, you are brought up in that way to center your whiteness, your white opinion, all these different things. So all white people are racist who until they start to create a relationship in interrogating their whiteness. Because if you just leave the whiteness alone and say, I'm just a good white person, then you are going to be unconsciously participating in anti-blackness. That is the kind of experience I've had with even my ex-fiance. Is that he wouldn't consider himself racist, but he also did not, he would spend no time interrogating his whiteness and was just moving around as a white man in ways that were anti-black, that were unchecked. So what we're saying here, just as ableism, it works across the board with all of it. Ableism, racism, all of the different things. I am not saying I'm a bad person because I'm ableist. But what I am saying is there's no doubt about the fact that I grew up in that I'm ableist, that the way that we operate and even with our own selves and try to hold on to our jobs when we are experiencing different things that are disabling, and we're masking the fact that we're having this problem so that we don't get fired or so that certain things don't happen. That's internalized ableism. So we're just explaining the fact that I don't care what white person out there. You're great, love you. Have you been interrogating your whiteness? No, then you can't be trusted. Just like I can't be trusted as somebody to not be ableist if I haven't been having a conversation about what ableism is.
But I get that point, but our people are racist against each other. That's a big fucking problem.
So wait, hold
And
on one
like
second.
old girl said in the middle time, oh, I don't want to have to read nobody, baby. You ain't gonna read nothing.
No, she said for you not to come on and read it. That's what she was saying. Hopefully you won't come
No,
on and
no, I knew what she said. I caught it. But
Wait,
my thing is,
Erin,
if
yes.
we're going to be trans sisters and we're going to come together for a good cause, there should be some type of decorum, some type of structure. Let everybody talk.
But there
You know what I'm saying?
is,
I'm new here.
I know,
But
but
if this is how y'all introducing me, why would I want to sit at a table with y'all? Why would I want to go to a meeting with y'all?
listen,
listen,
sister,
listen.
can
So
I respond?
yes,
Because I think
Erin.
there was some confusion. She said that there was an argument happening in the chat thread, and that she was going to bring you back. I said, don't come in here trying to read now.
I
Um,
don't need you to tell me what to do. I'm a grown woman.
and so am I. So I'm gonna need you to
Okay, so
listen to
grown,
what I'm
don't
saying.
tell me what. But listen, that's where you messed up, sister.
But no, hold on one
Because you.
second. Hold
But
on. Let
hold
me
on.
be a moderator. Let
But
me
listen,
moderate this because I don't want
I'm
this to
gonna
get out
meet
of
you with your
hand.
energy. So she said, "Don't come up here with this and that." Then I'm gonna give you what. What did you mean by that?
What
Because
she
I'm a grown woman.
I'm
I
trying
know
to tell
how
you.
to conduct myself.
I'm
But
okay,
I
but
thought that
trying to
it was very rude. And it's so interesting that you're speaking up now when you saw me sitting up here on the whole panel and I wasn't saying nothing. You didn't even say, "Well, let's let sis speak.
well, that's not
Let's
because that's
share."
not what
But
this.
hold
That's
on.
not wait. As a
all right, sis.
conversation.
I try to come up here and have a conversation with y'all.
Okay,
You
I'm
let
gonna remove
Angel.
you now. So basically, because the thing is that she wasn't listening at all to what we're,
No.
and the
And
thing is that the all this energy, she brought that energy. She
I
brought
just
this.
want to say, can I say this to her also? I was booked to be here. Okay.
Yes,
I'm
yes, yes.
ain't just we're not just sitting in the
Right.
cafeteria talking.
Aaron's
Um,
name was on the
yeah,
actual show notes to come in, and that we were going to be
but
specifically talking about
also
this.
I just want to dispel something that she mentioned. We are not all sisters. I don't know you from a can of paint. And I think it's okay for us to say we don't know each other from a can of paint. And there was a lot that can be assumed when we don't ask clarifying questions. I wasn't
Absolutely.
aware that there was any issue. Um, oh, okay, it's the Queen Tulsa show. Okay, so she giving Laverne. She trying to sell tickets. Anyway, moving on.
Gotcha. Yeah. And Brianna, if you want to come up on here, text me because send me a text so I can send you the link. I know you had that number that you text me with before,
Ooh,
and it
I'm
might
just
still be, the same link. I don't know, but I really, because I tried to give space to have this kind of calm down a little bit, but it was like what's happening there, and what I saw happening there with her is she's coming in new
she
to a
here.
conversation that has been going on. So when she's talking about, she was about to say that we as black people can be racist again in saying something that's not true. Black
We
people,
we
we
have to move
cannot.
on. She is gonna
Yes,
get out on me if we keep talking about.
you're right. You're right. But black people, we cannot be racist. We can, we can be prejudiced. We can discriminate. We can do all of those things, but we do not have the power. We do not have the power that racism has, because anytime that we think we're going to tap into that power, racism will eventually let you know. Candace Owens or any of those other pick-me's that think that they can tap into the power that racist people are doing, they're going to gag you too, girl, and let you know, no, you don't have the power to participate in this.
Angelica, I love you so much. You are so gracious.
I
Oh
am. I
my
am.
gosh. Because way
Yeah.
I
So
that just gave
I
Chris.
just try. I just try to make space for everybody. I try to make space for them, but you have to. And folks, when you're coming into community, you just gotta take responsibility for your own energy and the way that you're coming into the space, and not assume what's happening when things are moving around you. When you're new into a space, you're creating all kind of narratives and emotions around things that weren't there. And then I saw, yes, she did get you confused with Brianna in the chat because her and Brianna was going at it, and
I
Brianna
was
was
like,
reading her
what?
for filth.
I was
Brianna was
I didn't even say nothing. What's going
Brianna was reading her down.
Baby,
Angelica Ross Buddha is gagging and giving tens.
no. And the
Absolutely, but I think the point still stands at what we were all talking about. Why you saying Z saying I played?
who's saying you play?
Z saying I played. She thinks Erin is Eon. Yeah, no, I think she's somebody might be confused. But
Uh,
these girls are insecure and have no community, and that is the thing. Is sometimes when they're trying to get community and they see, they feel like some girls are, and some girls are mean girls and the different things, but like I don't know what to say. We're gonna
I
move on
know
from
what
that.
to say. I
What are
know
you gonna
what.
say?
This is not the place to meet new friends. So I also want us to not be speaking as if what she was saying was the truth. Because
That's
you
what I'm
coming
saying.
over to Angelica Ross's podcast to say, I'm trying to make friends and community. Girl, we are having a conversation with a topic that you could have spoken into. I think my issue is I don't understand, and this isn't just her, this idea that your identity is a virtue of somehow. You being a tranny, you being non binary, you being whatever does not speak to the content of your character.
Yes, yes,
So the idea that the
yes.
assumption always has to be that you are speaking in good faith because I know that you are trans, I'm not operating out of that place. I
Yeah,
would have easily had a conversation with Blondie, but she wanted to be hyped and she wanted to get a clip for the Queen Tulsa show. So, sister, I hope you got it. And white people are still racist.
yeah. That's basically what it is. Um, I know. And so basically, oh, she said she needs the new link. Okay, so but did you text me though? How you
Who?
gotta
Somebody?
you gotta Brianna wants to hop on really quick.
Oh, I was gonna say, don't bring Blondie back.
No, she tried to get back on here, but no. But I
I'm
am
2
going.
seconds from talking about that vibe.
See, stop. We're gonna keep it cute. We're not gonna be mean girl. Like, cause you see that you can see what you see. You know what I'm saying? Like you see. So like just you see that she's just not picking up what we're putting down, I think. Brianna, I'm trying to so I'm gonna put this banner up so you can see the number if you need the banner again. Let me wait, let's see here. Oh, there go Brianna. Okay, good. There's Brianna. Okay, so I'm texting you the link right now. There you go. You got the link. Cause I know Brianna gonna have some words. But yeah, but again, overall, what we're getting at is
And no shade to Queen Tulsa. I just had to get her back.
no, of course, and that's what the girls don't know. It's like that's what they don't like. That's being one of the girls too. Is like you got to know the boundaries of the talk
Yeah.
without getting too hype about the situation. Us girls, we give it to each other. You understand what I'm saying? But we don't. We don't have to fight like that. That doesn't have to be like that. Brianna is coming back. Where Brianna, are you here yet? Okay, she's coming backstage. She's getting logged on. But so I just again to reiterate what we're talking about here when we're talking about trans versus non-binary, understanding that there is an umbrella, but being trans and being non-binary are not the same thing, and we don't always belong in the same conversation. When we're having those things, sometimes it has to do more with your actual experience, with your lived experience. And when it comes to you know, femme presenting trans women, we understand that just the difference between trans men and trans women, the
Mhm.
fact that the world acts completely obtuse and don't even understand that trans men exist, and it's because of their hyper focus on femininity and women that we end up under this magnifying glass of womanhood too, because they're already got this magnifying glass on every woman. So when we understand those things, we understand there's an immediate experience that's going to be different because of that fact. And if we're going to play in each other's faces about that I'm not, I'm not interested in like doing that. I just heard Brianna pop on. Here we go. We're gonna add Brianna to the stage. Hey, Brianna. Oh,
Hi, Brianna.
But
Brianna, what was going on, girl?
she was trying it. That's what was going on. So
What
I was
like
making sure
because
she got. You,
because she started. I think she started getting mad. You started get because she was mad that I
no,
took her off the thing in
sis
the
was
beginning.
mad. Sis was mad when she had to drop down, and you took her down, and then you brought her back up, and she was on 10. And what it gives me is the girl that's in the support group that no matter how you try to accommodate you, they come looking for the fight. I'm not new to this, so I knew what I saw when she was doing the most. And it was nothing either of you could have said to her to bring her down. My sis was looking for a fight. And it's okay. I had to get at her to let her know. And my name is not Aaron, it's Aeon. But we need to do this better when we see people trying to come at our sisters for no reason, because we have also experienced this in the movement or in the work. Girls feeling some type of way about something and them feeling like it's licensed to come at you. If you're at your depth, if you're not understanding the conversation, it's okay to ask. This is a round table situation. If you want to jump in, sis, jump on in. That's what this is for. We're all grown women, but also she's talking about white folks ain't racist. Sis is in Tulsa fighting for her life. So we need to keep her lifted up in the evangelical Christian prayer. We want to keep her sis lifted up.
Absolutely.
And pray for her coverage and protection, because sis saying that Black people can be racist too, it's just like, you're not ready, and I don't want to.
That's what it was. You're not ready for this conversation, and you're getting mad at us.
And I'm not saying that as to put her down or to put anybody that has that mindset down, because there's a lot of people that say that, and we want everybody to get the awareness, but every conversation is not for everybody, and that's okay. Also, we need to reclaim the word transsexual. No shade.
Hello.
That conversation with Laverne Cox and the girls, that was a transsexual conversation. That was for the girls that's on the transsexual part of the umbrella. Everything is not for everybody. I know
Absolutely.
everybody wants to feel included, and it's a big umbrella, but it's a transsexual.
But I think everybody could be included on the MSNBC panel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when we zoom out and everybody's talking about all the different things and bringing in this expert and that expert, I get it. But at that initial conversation, you're right. It should have been the transsexuales.
To me, it was a trend. And again, going back to the conversation from last week, shout out to Jerome, sweetie. You did not have to block me. I thought we were having a healthy debate. We're both community members now. Now that I know you're under the trans umbrella, I thought we could go back and forth and still be cool. But it's okay. When I see you in person, I'm going to roll up on you and be like, now you know you ain't have to block me. But getting back to my point,
right? Yes.
Getting back to my point, it's a transsexual conversation, and it's okay, and it's no shade to Deshaun. Like I said last week, I felt what they were saying, but you can't tell me what it's like for me moving through spaces, navigating love as a woman, interacting with men. Like it's just not going to hit the same. And then I watched Deshaun's live after the fact, and Deshaun came into that conversation. I know everybody was saying Quay, it was rude or everything, but Deshaun was rolling their eyes at Quay from the first time that Quay spoke. I saw it. And then in the aftermath, it's none of y'all are saying y'all are binary. That's not real. And none of y'all pass, and all of y'all are niggas anyway. If you roll up on me calling me a nigga, we gonna have a problem, because like that's your experience. That's not mine. And the problem
they said that?
Yeah, they were like, nobody's non-binary, and that's not real. And Trump looks at all of us as we all niggas anyway. So we all
that's that T.S. Madison talking point. Like
Deshaun said, I identify as a nigga, and you should identify. And I'm like, no, like. Now you're jumping off the end and taking
I gotta go back and see that. I didn't hear all that.
That was the live that's on their Instagram profile, where most of the people.
Did you see Olay? Did you see Olay did a live?
I saw Olay's. I didn't see the
story.
Live.
It was a story.
It was a story. I stand by what I said last week. I felt like on a subconscious level, it was shade that we have this non-binary person with the beard with these 5 trans women, because on a subconscious level, and I don't know if sis will admit it, it's given like, well, it don't really matter because they all men with beards anyway. So
Well, I'll say what you're saying leads to what Erin was saying in the sense of what it sounded like when Olay was trying to pull herself out of the circle of the conversation as a cis woman, like that y'all niggas need to talk, and as a cis woman, I don't have a a dog in yeah.
Why couldn't you be in the conversation, sis? If we're all women having a one, not a female experience, a woman experience, like come. But
Absolutely.
be a part of this.
I'm sorry, y'all. All these distinctions are making my head spin. I'm like, this is a women's conversation.
Right.
Yes.
We are Black women with sense.
But I thought it was so wrong. I thought it was such a full spin when Olay was on her story talking about, like, basically accusing trans women of being transphobic, like, because we are trying to identify the specificity in this conversation and saying, no, this is not the same thing. We're not the same thing. And I don't care what books you read, I don't care what academia you think, you're not going to come on here and position yourself as an authority over real trans women.
YouTube academia, you have been, nobody is shook. I am living freely and however I show up. I know who I am. And you can't tell me who I know who I am. Just because I claim a label or anything, I'm living my life free as a bird.
Same. Because I see somebody on here saying these labels got you shook. And no, let me tell you something about us. As
somebody said YouTube academia is really Deshaun.
Because the thing is like, I learned when I was reading A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and he really hit it home with these labels, and basically talked about like the fact that we call a sun and a tree and we've given all these things all these different names. We then act like as if we know what that thing is because we've given it a label, and we stop sitting with the experience of being with these things. And he talked about how the fact that, like, with these labels, whether you're a mother, a doctor, whatever it is, that people get trapped in their identities of and playing roles. This is what a woman's supposed to do. This is what a man's supposed to do. So we understand those things. But when it comes to queer and LGBTQ people, this is what I want to put down. And let me see what y'all think about this as well. I always say it's great when we end up finding an affinity, a group, a label, or certain things. But if you find a thing, drop it almost as soon as you find it. Meaning it's not something that you just have to carry around all the time. Like, I know it helped me find direction as a trans woman or pansexual, all these different words or whatever that I'm coming up with. But at the end of the day, don't none of that fully explain, don't none of that hit to exactly who and what I am. So no label is something I'm fully attaching myself to.
Yeah. It's the which came first, the chicken or the egg situation. Most of these things, including us, our bodies, how we show up in the world, they exist before any language has to even come into the situation. And I think even when we're talking about labels and stuff, like, I don't identify as queer. I think this idea that being trans automatically means you are like a queer, like, it's so many different things going on.
And we're not saying that labels don't matter at all. We're not saying that.
Let me say this to that person. What's wrong with y'all? Yeah, the comments are the people are
they're carrying. They're carrying tonight.
Miss Queen Tulsa, if you put this much energy into finding a human hair wig like you are in the comments, you would be a very long way, sis. Stop.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, Erin. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not even gonna.
I will. Yeah. I don't mind.
But my thing is this: a lot of this boils down to, for me, is us trying to live in two worlds at the same time. Like, we want to live in the world where our labels and all of these things don't actually matter. We want to live in a world where you are seen and interacted with as a trans person without doing the things that trans people have been doing in this world forever to be recognized. The truth is, I keep saying, we tried this. It failed. I think we have to admit that this we are the world shit failed. And now we have to just start keeping it a being. Like, we are speaking to a target, we are not speaking to where we are. Like, the education and all of these things has not actually touched the soil for people. People are still very much going based off of how they see and experience a person, you know, and we have to be honest about that. Like, all
Yes.
of this, like,
Yes.
I can give you a full breakdown list of my identity labels and all of that type of stuff. That don't mean shit to people. And I think the more we talk around that, I think the more space we make for people who are full of shit and pretending that we are living now in the target that we are
Absolutely.
trying to hit.
I think you really hit the nail on the head with that. I
Mhm.
feel that we are being, when somebody's not acting in good faith, we
Baby.
are acting in good faith with the fact that we're saying we know what you're saying. We
Mhm.
know the theory and but the practical of what's happening, we're not there yet. They're not there yet. And we can't sit here and act like we are. So we do have to be specific about the things that we're trying to be specific about.
We have
Ooh,
to be.
they are carrying in this comment section
Baby, I'm like, bring
today.
all of them up. Let's just let me see
Girl,
it on video.
no, girl,
Baby. What
girl,
is it? When white men showed up to the shores of the Americas, there were over 100 genders and
Hello.
labels. Now we're trying to adjust to just
Exactly.
to, yes, exactly. I'll
Okay,
give you
YouTube
that.
Academia, a broken clock is
but
right.
also
Right.
like the people that are academics and elite, they think they're the only ones that know that there are plenty of people in the hood, plenty of people who aren't rich that have access to this knowledge too. That we, because they don't have degrees or stuff like that, we disregard their experiences all the time, every day.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Mel was telling me that they did invite them to talk about those things. No, listen, you don't have to claim responsibility for no one and all the different things or whatever. We all appreciate all the energy here because at the end of the day, no opportunity wasted.
Hello.
And
So
don't
this
waste
is
the opportunity
Come in
to
here
buy
and
a
come
human
here.
hair wig and not the shake and go wig.
wait, but Brianna, but I want to say to you though, I do want to thank you because you are doing something and saying something that again, as black trans women, we are so often judged, critiqued, and just about we can't. I mean, we're overjudged. We're over policed. We do anything. People are ready to jump down our throats. But the thing, what I love about what you're saying is enough is enough because we are girls of a certain age and who have been in this community for a long time who are now like really experienced with different types of personalities within our community and all kind of things, and sometimes we do have to check folks because I have been a little over nice in many ways. Even in my social media, people know I've been over nice because I'm trying to give people, I'm trying to give them all the benefit of the doubt. But the way that some of the girls be coming at me like I'm their friend, like I owe them, like they're entitled to certain things, when I'm offering an olive branch, I'm offering certain things, and some folks even try to. There's a lot of different things that go on, and we need to get better at holding people's hands with love, and but also doing that thing where we can, we used to be able to read and talk to each other in a way where the girls understood that I'm not trying to break you down as a person. I'm telling you, bitch, no.
The girls need they don't need you to be nice to them. They need access to mental health services. And I'm not saying that to be shady or ableist.
It's so
She,
true.
she came in ready to fight. That came from somewhere. And like zooming out, I see the fat phobic stuff and the little colorist stuff. I'm going to pay that because you heard about something. What I will say is, we not your enemies, mama. You are in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they are the ground zero for the anti-trans, the anti-black, and you are sitting here proclaiming that you're partnered to a white man in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sweetie, we should be the last of your concerns, and I really hope that the universe brings something in your support orbit where you're able to process that and really deal with the realities of that, on top of you trying to go to the DMV and having your experience at your DMV. But sweetie, we're not your enemies. That man that you laying next to, the white man, he's probably your enemy. That synthetic wig that was on top of your head when you came on your camera, whoever sold you that wig, that person's your enemy. But it's not us. So I'm going to let it slide. I really do wish you well, but we have to. What I don't like in community is how, again, people feel like they are entitled to you because they look at you as this thing, and they think that they're supposed to have this experience from you, and when you don't live up to what they think you are in their head, they think it's okay to fight you, blast you, and expose you. I'm not in the business of doing that to other Black trans women, period. And even though I'm reading her and I'm keying with her, I still want the best for her.
Absolutely.
Her Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
I'm still going to read you because you're trying it, girl. But we should have more care with each other, and we should give each other the benefit of the doubt. But I'm going to read. That's just what we do.
Absolutely.
So, but you're not going to come in, my sister, and think Brianna's not going to have nothing to say about it.
I am not a mean girl. I just have a very bitchy tone of voice.
Yes. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And we're going to definitely be hearing a lot more from Erin Lang. Erin Lang, we're going to have you, we're working on some things behind the scenes. So we're not going to talk about that right now. But I will just say that people who know me know that even one of the reasons I'm doing things like this is to constantly, I've been able to make space for my voice, my big ass, loud ass voice or whatever. And I'm just trying to share the mic because I know that I'm not the only one. And I'm not that girl who talks about not being the only one while also making sure she's the only one in the space. Do you understand what I'm saying? I am that girl that literally says that and calls up the girls whenever there's a situation or ever there's, what have you. So Brianna, as well, I hope to have you continue to come on here and give your expertise, because what I love about you as well, sis, is that you bring it from the streets to the courtroom. Like it's something, again, people don't see you coming because they assume that we don't read books. Because some of the girls don't read books, and they'd be out here just talking. But the thing is that some of us have read books. Some of us go to college, and even those that haven't read academic books, we get it some other way sometimes.
And sometimes the people in college don't know a motherfucking thing but what they read in them damn books and can't think beyond that.
Right, and if you can't. And part of me being a lawyer, she can be. I'm going back to the comments. She can be realer than me if she wants to be, bitch. My life is together on paper, and that's all that matters. And when we're talking about the rain coming down on the girls, I have a little bit more insulation, so I ain't worried about none of that. My life is fad. But part of being a lawyer or being somebody that has access means that you have the responsibility to distill it so that even the lay person can understand what you're saying. If only you can speak in this high in the sky thing, and the people on the ground don't get it, and the people on the ground need to get it because there's more of them than there are of you. So what's the point of having all of this access to education if the people on the ground don't even know what the hell you're talking about and can't apply it to their real life?
Hello. And with all of that education, with all of that scholarship, not being able to say, hey, maybe I can sit this conversation out. Or maybe I could moderate the conversation because I am so familiar with the source of this conversation.
Of desirability, and yes.
All through this topic, instead of being on there and then saying Trump looks at us all as niggas. Because let me tell you something. If we all walked in front of Trump.
Right. Because the reality is he's not going to see. No, he's not. Absolutely not. That's not what he's going to see.
Nigga where?
Okay.
Nigga where?
I mean, and listen, we obviously we understand that gender, beauty, all of those are in the eye of the beholder. We all understand that we all can get called one on any given Sunday. I do understand that. But on a regular day, on the 90 given North, and nobody's at no trans protest and doing nothing, I'm just going to get my groceries, they don't see a nigga.
But the thing is, even if I
They do, but not in the way niggas see niggas. They see
but this
niggas.
is the thing, that even if I get clapped or I get misgendered, as soon as you talk to me, as soon as you interact, oh, excuse me, man, because it's the spirit of a woman. It's the essence of a woman, and you might see something, but once you interact with me, it's all about the spirit, and it's all about the essence of what you're getting from me. So, like,
I think there have been people at times who have wanted to misgender me but couldn't. You know what I mean? Meaning, like, because they want to misgender you, and they calling you she on accident because they ain't nothing else they could do.
Right.
Somebody asked in here, and I want to know what y'all think about this as well. Someone asked, can we unpack Laverne saying you make her feel unsafe, but not the white MAGA?
When did she say that?
So she basically what they're talking about is, because I apologized to Laverne in my last live, I was saying that, like, I know that I guess one of the reasons she put distance between us, or that, that things were like that, is she said that I, made her feel like she wasn't woke enough, and made her feel, like unsafe, like, and what what I'm saying is, one, I'm just going to own up to my own. I'm just going to own up to my own thing and say, if I'm making any one of my friends feel unsafe, that is not my intention ever, is to make someone feel unsafe. But I also pointed out that Quay was there when, we had that one particular conversation. And anyone that knows me knows that, what am I doing? What do you mean unsafe? I'm not I may have strong opinions, but you might feel unsafe though if you want to hold on to certain things that you know are problematic.
But you know what makes me feel unsafe? When I saw Laverne in that one video with the shortcut wig on, that made me feel unsafe.
I'm not scared.
It's like, no.
You are carrying with these wigs, girl. But yeah, no, you weren't the only one who made a comment about that wig, though.
No. But no, we love Laverne. Everybody,
we love Laverne. We're just being a key. Yes.
And I don't think I got to get to this point in the last video. Nobody is saying, "Oh, you're with a white man. Go and date black men." None of these men are safe. What we are choosing black love, choosing black men. That's not going to make us as women and femmes. That's not going to make us any safer. None of these men are safe. And going back to the question, why did she feel safer with the white MAGA man rather than her friend? That's the same question we have to ask when it's a black situation and a girlfriend is telling her friend, your man he ain't nothing, but the girl goes back to the man and then distance herself from her friend, or like we're all in a system where, like, just like we're born to be transphobic, we're born to be misogynistic to ourselves, we're born to betray ourselves to be close to a man rather than listening to ourselves, rather than prioritizing our relationships with other women, our sisters that really have our best interests at heart, for the most part, because there's some hating assholes like Miss Thing in the comment with the blonde wig.
She's staying in there. It's like, girl, if you don't want to, you is committed.
The thing I don't like about the Laverne situation is people act like they haven't done some form of that in their own lives. Maybe
Absolutely.
Not to that extreme, but we have all, for those of us who date men, who have the affliction of being attracted to men, we all at some point or another have betrayed ourselves to be closer to a man. And you can go down a list of reasons for whatever you want to do it. For me, it was because I thought for the longest time me having a man made my womanhood more valid. And I put myself in a lot of situations I didn't need to be because I thought that validated my realness, until I came to the realization that no man is going to save me. No man is going to do but like, we all have been there, and coming at Laverne the way that people did, people refusing to see the humanity in her.
Yes,
and it wasn't like she was saying she was still with the man. It wasn't like she was saying, oh, I'm with him and I voted for Trump too. Like, there was a beginning, middle, and the end, but the way that people came at her, and it's just like, okay, you don't see the humanity in her, but you also don't see the humanity in yourself too, because we have all been in that situation before, whether folks want to admit it or not.
And that's why I shared my story that, I have also been in a situation that I had to wake up to. Maybe it wasn't, as maybe
Wait,
blatantly obvious, but yeah. What's that,
I was
Aaron?
gonna say before y'all move on, was she saying you make her feel unsafe, or was she saying that what you were saying about her is portraying her as unsafe?
She was saying that I made her feel unsafe and like basically that basically I would be in perpetual judgment of her
Uh,
not being woke enough.
I
okay,
don't,
okay.
I
But
don't,
for me, it was just holding accountable to the simple fact
yeah,
that it was me, her, Janet Mock,
Why?
all kind of people. We on different networks. You could turn the channel and we all talking this kind of talk, and then all of a sudden you act like you don't know what I'm talking about.
I and I'm sorry to cut you off, Aaron.
No, you're not cut me
No,
off.
no, you're fine.
I wonder if she said unsafe, but what I wonder is, did she really mean you're, instead of making me feel unsafe, you're making me feel guilty because
Yeah,
I'm choosing the thing that is, I'm doing the thing that is convenient. Because
yes,
so it's not necessary. It's like you're holding a mirror to me, you're forcing me to acknowledge the thing that is like inconvenient that I don't want to acknowledge. So I'm just curious to know, like, because if it was something where she truly felt unsafe with you, it's just like, did the friendship or the interaction like cut off immediately after that, or were there other interactions before it kind of trailed off?
I think there were just multiple interactions for me and Laverne. Like I think it just, and that's why I didn't want to have the conversation immediately originally initially there until I had talked to her and like had like a really heart to heart conversation, because it wasn't about her dating a white man. It was about her internalization of white supremacy. It was the way that she was changing in front of my eyes to me to prioritize her privilege and career over the work that she came in talking, the talk that she came in talking about all of us being free and liberation for all of us. Now it was about her survival. But the thing is that I don't really appreciate people using words like survival in a Hollywood world. That's not survival, that's privilege. Like survival is what the girls are going through on the streets trying to pay rent and trying to find a place to sleep. Survival in Hollywood is a different game. That's you wanting to participate in privilege. I did not necessarily survive in that space because I did not want to play along with the things. I'm talking the things that it came with a cost. She knows very well that playing to whiteness, like she said in those previous times. So there are times I told her that comes at the cost of cutting my feet off, because sometimes we're talking about things and they're choosing your form of lightweight advocacy over this girl who's saying it this way. Just like there was a moment I spoke about where I felt Laverne was dead ass wrong for talking about a black trans woman who was speaking up about the Just Hilarious situation. I don't know if you remember, there was a black trans woman who just went in and was saying, you don't own womanhood to Just Hilarious. You don't own womanhood, and you don't own the experience of, cis women don't own womanhood, and they don't own the experience of having periods. Now, she didn't say that she was having the periods and blah, blah, blah. She was just speaking facts on behalf of trans men. But then Laverne comes in and does this whole post and everything, and she kind of like says something that like undermines where the girl is coming from and all this thing. And I'm like, and I commented under that post and I said, well, good thing there's more than one way to fry a fish, or something. Like I said, it's like good thing there's more than one way. And I just, after a while, after a certain time, I'm not trying to yuck anybody's yum. I remember in Pose, there's a line that Angel says, that India Moore says, when Pray Tell is trying to get them all to go down to the protest. And it's like, what y'all need to be, she's like, well, I got a modeling gig, the next day or something. She had something going on. He was like, you need to be doing it. She was like, so what? I can't, we all being chased by the same demon. I can't stop and, I guess experience something nice for myself or whatever, that sort of line. And I understood sort of the space of, we're all under such whatever, it's understandable that we would want to have moments where we experience, certain things. But I want Laverne, like when Laverne, before I was famous, I was one of the producers of the Trans 100 that we had in Chicago.
Oh,
And
Oh, you
and
taking
Lo-
the that girl. You
and
taking
La-
okay.
yes, and Laverne Cox came to be the speaker at the first year. This was her fresh, about to be in Orange Is the New Black. Now, mind you, like some people saw her as the celebrity and all the different things. Yeah, she had just did, I think, season one, or it was on or something. And I made sure, as one of the producers, I made sure that she felt like the star that she was. I made sure she, even when we had the small, she had her own room. I was like, I was just doing all the things to make her feel like the star, because she was our star, in the community. I want girls to get their things and to get their rewards and whatever. Every success that Janet Mock had, I celebrated like it was my own, because
Mhm.
I knew that this was only going to do great for open up doors for our community and different things. And I'm a smart bitch. I'm going to open up my own opportunities. So I never asked them for anything. The only thing that I expected was that, as black trans women who have been in this movement, going to creating change, doing all these different things, and know we've been at the bottom of the totem pole, so we've had to learn intersectionality in ways that other people don't even understand it. So I did not understand how somebody was talking this talk with me, all of a sudden was moving in an individualistic way. She was saying words like, we want to open these doors and diversity and make sure that I'm not the only one, but she was also moving in ways that I felt like was ensuring she was the only one.
Mm.
And so for me, I kept calling Laverne, and I told Laverne, kept calling Laverne at different times with different scripts, different show ideas, different things that I thought maybe we should come together, do this, do that. She could never see how we would come together. It, so like at some point, I felt like she don't even see me as a colleague. Like, and girl, if we in the same rooms and acting in the same things, girl, all I'm saying is we colleagues.
Right.
I bring it to the set. You bring what you bring, I'm bringing it to the set. So we are colleagues. And I have executive produced things that have had 4 daytime Emmy nominations with King Esther. So to not see me as somebody that you could executive produce things with and create things with on the level, but you still here by yourself. So now that Hollywood has now closed the door on you too. Like I left. I said, if this is the way y'all gonna be, call me when you're ready. Call me when you want to be serious about some shit about this, that, and the third. Until then, I'll go find something else to do with my time. I'll go find something else. Now they're not. Now they're not even seeing Laverne right now. So now she's tapping on the community door.
Hmm.
I want to ask a question somebody put in the comment, and I'm curious to know the answer to this.
Yeah.
Erin, why did you have to read Clean Slate off the bone? I
Okay.
would like to know the answer to that.
Um. Oh gosh. First off, I want to say, wow. The girls, right? To all of that. But I read Clean Slate off the bone because before I am a lot of things, I am a consumer of media. I grew up in front of a television. I grew up on the computer. I have a dark sense of humor. I can really enjoy just a wide array of different types of genres and all and what have you. One of the genres I do love or have loved or grew up loving was the sitcom. I am very familiar with All in the Family and the Jeffersons and Norman Lear's work. Norman Lear, even though, he allegedly stole from a black man, which makes sense because good times, where the hell did he come up with good times? Um, but Norman Lear was putting out content in the world that spoke to the condition. The people like Archie Bunker, being this kind of polarizing figure that got to speak from the perspective that people maybe thought they understood, but really didn't. So, you know, the Jeffersons, in my opinion, still has one of the most, if not the most, culturally competent episodes about trans
They were
women
ahead of their time, yes.
to this day. Like that episode, they did such a beautiful job of explaining things without outright saying it. So when Laverne and Norman Lear, when it was first announced that Laverne was going to do a show where she is like the long lost child, come back, you know, transition, getting with her Black father, I was like, this is literally going to be phenomenal. Like absolutely phenomenal. I was like, this, the scholarship, the conversation, so much could come out of this story. I saw Clean Slate and I wanted to cry. I
Right.
literally was
Her acting is so.
I'm not gonna read Laverne, but it is for me, I was like, first off, this is not a Black show. There's Black people in this show, but this is not a Black show. It felt like Disney Channel trans. It was a joke because
I mean, it felt like to me like a white greenlit show, meaning
it
like
was. That's what
she got her show, right, but from the white people
It
that
wasn't
she's in
niggas in
the
the writing room.
no.
No,
It
there were
wasn't niggas
no
from
black
Mobile
trans.
in
There
the
were
writing room.
no Black trans people in the writers' room. I was confused. Like it to me, it was like the last. You know when they're like showing like from inside the coffin where they're hitting the nails
Then it
down.
was in Last Nail, you said?
I was like, that to me let me know more than anything that the trans wave had passed. You know,
Mm.
because it was so there was nothing risky about Clean Slate. There was nothing that challenged introspection with Clean Slate, and to me the subject matter demanded that. So the fact that the actual series was some weird thing and Laverne was like popping pussy for some like white dude with a fucked up haircut, and like we had to watch some white dude and his like white like baby,
Daughter.
and like
Hmm.
it just was like, what the fuck? This is like I'm so sick, and this was even a gripe of mine with Pose, like where I'm like,
In the
put this
beginning.
on HBO. I'm sick of the TVMA and stuff. We're not talking about shit that is.
Well, that's why did you see Veneno?
Oh, Veneno is
And then
lit.
I would see.
Veneno,
Veneno made Pose look like a Disney show.
Pose made Pose look like a Disney show.
Yeah, Live Banana was C, bitch.
Yeah, because ballroom,
Veneno
like
was T.
ballroom to me, like, oh my gosh, this is HBO. This is like we can get into it. We can throw a little power in there. We can throw a little fucking the
You gotta
queen.
have one of the girls topping
Cause
the
girls, the girls and the boys be going to jail over some real
Literally.
stuff.
Like there is scammery, there is murder, there is sex, there is like this is not TVMA. And you know, it goes
agree.
back to my read of Clean Slate is this desire to sanitize that which cannot be sanitized. Like our experiences, our stuff with our families, this is not like fodder for Disney Channel. Like this is we got to take it there.
I agree.
Would have opened that door and
But
said,
can you see that that's what they were going? Is that they felt like they were going to bring this conversation into middle America's living room with this show?
that shit was so devoid. It was hollow. Clean Slate was extremely hollow. I absolutely knew we would not be seeing a season 2 because I could barely make it through season 1. Who the fuck would want to see it? What even is the second season of this? I felt like with Clean Slate, and this is also a thing because I'm one of the girls. I didn't read Clean Slate off the bone. I'm a consumer. I gave a review of something I watched. Like, and that is the beauty of more trans people being able to create is I don't have to say, wow, that was amazing. I can say, bitch, what the fuck was this?
Girl, because that actually came up in my conversation that will come later with Jordan J, who is the founder of
Oh,
BTFA. Yes,
What
and
Jordan?
in my conversation with Jordan, Jordan basically said that we need to get it to the place where Black trans people can make bad art.
well, we're
Mm.
already there.
Be- well, and that there be more and more
Okay,
opportunities for us to grow from that. Because, again, white people get to make bad stuff and keep going and keep going and keep going.
It's still
You know,
his career.
when we have a Black show, when we have a trans show, everything is riding on that show to be successful. We can't have a bad show. You know what I'm saying? And so, I will say, like, as a consumer as well, I definitely I wanted to support, so I watched it to support, especially, coming up for Emmys and things like that.
well, that wasn't good, no. Amy.
But no, if I, just to be honest, like it was a disappointment to me as well. Like it didn't hit where I thought it could hit. It wasn't for me. That is the other thing. Who was the audience?
Baby.
So
People watch the Jennifer Hudson show.
you were a singer? Really? I didn't know. No.
Y'all not gonna do her like that.
That was the J Hud crowd. That was the Passions crowd. That was the fucking
Passions used to be my shit now.
stories come on at once.
We're not gonna come for Passions.
You're not gonna come for Passions.
Passions was the soap opera, honey. Teresa and Ethan.
So for me, the highlights of Clean. Now I'm not gonna lie. I'm somebody that binges shows a lot. It was very hard to get through those first 2 episodes because something was missing. The highlights of Clean Slate to me were George Wallace and Thelma Hopkins. I feel like Thelma Hopkins does not get the flowers that
Absolutely.
she deserves, but I feel like their season. I'm not reading Laverne. I am hopeful that because of this journey that she's on, that in some of the roles she takes, that she's able to go deeper. Laverne has this thing where everything is just, from my opinion, I'm not reading, everything is just over the top and I'm a trans woman and you can accept me and I'm like, sis, like
Bird is about to unfollow me. She just unfollowed me. Damn it.
I'm saying this as somebody that is going to support her, that wants to support her, that watches TV. Like every character is the same. It's the same. It's the same voice. It's the same blonde wig. It's like it's
favorite role of hers was inventing Anna though.
Oh, when she played the gym instructor.
I feel like she ate that.
But it was still her Lavernisms in there. It was still her. But at least she got to have a Black man as a love interest in it.
Well, I will say this. Right. Regardless of what you think about it, I'll say this. Regardless of what you think about it, here's the situation. Laverne stayed booked. And Laverne's from the Uglies to like all kind of.
I loved her in the Uglies.
Now I will say I hated that movie, but I thought that she was the best thing about it. Like
I want her to be in Marvel.
She looked beautiful.
Laverne is one of our. We want to see Laverne have the roles and have the range. Like Angelica, we want to see you like have the range. And Angelica, we've seen you do like you were literally a fucking alien in American Horror. Like I want that for. Look, I want to see that. Like I want to see you as the Meryl Streep. But it's just like everything is given like drag queen, like.
But can I call out something without being called a hater?
We have a grown woman discussion.
Okay.
So we've already talked about what it means to cater to whiteness. So we know that our country loves symbols of change. versus actually giving y'all what y'all want.
Mhm.
And so I
Yeah,
feel
that here.
so often we get situations, and I felt like this was a situation with Laverne, where Laverne became a symbol for the trans community.
Mhm.
And it was like everywhere, it was like, that's how you knew transness, Laverne, and it was like you could see it coming. And so she seemed to have a lot of opportunities, whether the acting is good or bad, whether you think it's that, but it is also her ability to navigate those spaces. I
Yeah.
think part of that business, part of what we have to understand about that business is also about, are you willing to go along with things? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, can you just shut up about white supremacy for 5 seconds? You know what I'm saying, or whatever. And so I don't think it always came down to the best actor.
Mm.
I think it came down to, a lot of times, Laverne's moving into space. She's got to deal with the E network that they're going to develop, certain things with her as she's doing her thing. She's had a talk show where a all
I
these
like
different things, and folks, meanwhile, trans people are still being berated, still being made a fool of, still being killed, and still being all these things. But Hollywood and folks want to make the symbol, like Barack Obama. What do you mean? Racism's over. You have a black president. And apparently Laverne is supposed to be the president of the trans community. And when folks are like, to me, there was a trade-off. And to me, I always put it like this with what's her name? Um Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
mm.
I really feel like it was some trickery that goes on when it comes to us as black trans people, people who have, powerful voices. The system always wants to co-opt your voice. They always want to co-opt it. And I had the audacity to think that my voice is more valuable on its own than co-opted by whoever, Ryan Murphy or whoever wants to have this thing. So I feel like, in order to be a part of Hollywood, you have to trade in your voice to be a part of that world. And then they give you something back that seems like it fits, or whatever, it goes with the thing. But you can't say that. Don't talk about this. Don't do this and don't go there. You automatically know. She automatically knew that she had to
Mhm.
stop talking about certain things. So all I'm saying is that there were conscious choices that were made that were not about full liberation, but more about my ability to participate.
Right.
Mm.
What you
I
think?
don't know. I literally, I'm thinking of all of this, and I like her being a symbol, especially. I think it's so unfair. What we are expected to do because of who we are, And I think Laverne didn't have to speak out in the way she did, um, ever. Laverne could have just rocked it, like, yeah, and just kept going. Because I imagine that it probably sucks to just want to act. Like, I just want to be an actress. And I
What do you
get
think?
breakout role, and it's like, okay, but now I can't just be an actress. I got to be like TS President Cox. And now they're about to put me in every TS role they can imagine, but I still am not going to be able to. Like, have we seen, besides Clean Slate, like Laverne actually put out something that feels real and like has like the depth that she so clearly has? I don't think so.
No,
Um,
but I mean, but also, I hear what you're saying there, but this is where I interject,
mhm.
because I'm like, I think that somehow, because I think for some reason people must think I don't love acting enough. I don't respect my craft enough, that I don't want to be an actor enough. And it's not that.
You understand the game. You understand the game under. It's just not about. It's just because your art can't feed you. You have to. You either have to navigate in the game, or you have to get out and figure out how to make it, how to transgress it and make it work for you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love acting.
Hmm.
I love it. I'm talking about the most I love is being on stage because it's so live and real and people can hear my breath,
Come on,
in the
Roxy.
silence and different things. When I did Roxy, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just in those silent moments before I started crying, all these are like, I love acting so much, but I now know that my privileges won't protect me. And therefore, all the things that now people, they were shutting up in Hollywood, they're afraid. Now everybody, no, ain't nobody making money. And now everybody got to speak up and blah, blah, blah. But it's like your character and integrity are tested in times to show what you really are about. And it's not, I feel like to me, it's less of a judgment and more of an observation.
Yeah, I agree.
You're,
I
I'm
agree.
not, because I'm really trying not to come down on the judgment. It's more about, do you think you're the only one that loves to act?
Yeah, yeah. That I definitely, yeah, I agree with that. And we talked about integrity, the price of integrity, the price of being willing to be like, I see what's going on here, and I'm gonna say that, or I'm not gonna go along with you all. So now I can't go. So now I can't go at all anymore, because I'm not willing to fake the funk. There is something to be said about that having to be the choice, and
Absolutely. Because we
thinking,
should be able to be free.
yeah, and thinking that making the choice will work out for you. There are a few people that come to mind, with this thinking that if I am alone, I can do it alone, I could do it or whatever. And they like, the same way you've been in here alone, they're going to throw you outside alone, So yeah, I see that. I see that. I don't know. I think maybe, Laverne just followed me. So I got a little more, I think maybe grace for her.
YouTube Academia says you have the capability of being a trans Angela Bassett, yet you've never heard a political utterance from Bassett. You want to act or be MOK? It's a hard game.
Okay, is this YouTube Academia in this George Washington wig? Because if so,
It's a
enough.
troll. It's a troll. It's a
Yeah,
troll.
I mean, listen, I'll just respond to that by saying this. This is why I think it's beyond time that we have a real conversation about the difference between Black liberation and the concept we're being sold of Black excellence. Because there are so many celebrities and stars selling y'all pictures of Black excellence as if we've made it somewhere. We've done some things, and the reality is they made it somewhere. They got through the doors, and they are operating in a way to make sure they can stay in those good graces, and telling everybody behind them, like Steve Harvey told Monique on his show, well, we can't do this, and you got to do this way. But wait, I thought what was we doing this for? I thought we was doing this for liberation. Now we doing this just to hold on to a piece. And that's what this is about. Is most people in this game that's why nobody's been speaking up about all this stuff, is because everybody's trying to hold, we're not nobody's free. Nobody's actually really free.
And that's why nobody's speaking up about Isla Taga Eri Paga, because it's no shade, all of this, the Black liberation stuff, like it's important. But until we have a real conversation about capitalism and how capitalism works, because all of us feel like we could be rich one day, that's why we're willing to, when we get the money or when we think we're going to get the money, we shed all of our identity politics, and it's no longer about us feeling like we're Black, or us feeling like we're trans, or us feeling like we're queer, and it's about us being rich or thinking that we're rich and creating validation with our other rich friends. That's why it was so many of Black folks that voted MAGA. That's why it was so many gay motherfuckers that voted MAGA. Like, we have to have a conversation about classism and how insidious it is, because people know as long as they spout out Black excellence or support everybody Black, they know that we see ourselves in them, but they don't necessarily see ourselves in us, and they're willing to exploit us every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. So until we are talking about capitalism and how people are willing to sell other black people down the river to make a profit, then all of this liberation and and I have to check capitalism how it shows up in me because I'm a bitch. I like nice things. I like luxury experiences sometimes, but I don't want it at the expense of somebody else, or I don't want it when the money could be shared evenly so everybody gets a piece so nobody has to suffer. But in capitalism, somebody has to suffer. Somebody has to be on the bottom when it can be spread evenly and we can all have it. But just this blindly believing that black people, especially black celebrities, have our best interests at heart in 2025, when we've seen how a lot of them have been abusive with their money, Eddie Dogga, R.
And
Kelly,
not just with their money, they're abusive with the people in their lives.
right? So we really have to have a conversation about how just betting on black with no value assessment or no really checking people's values, how that is harmful to us as well. And also I want to put this in because they're about to consider overturning Obergefell. I don't want to hear nothing from gay motherfuckers talking about we need to come together and we need to put differences aside, because when same-sex marriage became laws of the land, a lot of y'all said fuck the movement. Y'all took your money out of these equality organizations. I was in Maryland. Equality Maryland shuttered because people took their money out of the fucking organizations and they said fuck all of the racial work that y'all doing. Our civil rights are over, and a lot of y'all asses became fucking Republicans and started voting Republicans. And we were at the Supreme Court last year. It was a group of y'all that have an organization called Gays Against Grooming. So when y'all lose y'all same-sex marriage and all your rights get away, don't look to black trans women to carry the labor or to give y'all the talking points to try to get it back. Because y'all thought y'all money would insulate y'all and save y'all. And y'all are
Absolutely. I
not
mean,
special.
I'm going to still be here in the fight and all the different things, but I'm just not going to be fooled to be in the front row with HRC, knowing that
No.
they don't really see it for none of us like that.
Right.
I know that Alonzo David, I think when he became the
Alfonso Davis.
Alfonso David, when he one of the things when I met with him, one of the things he told me right away was they took their money. Like, so when the black man came up in there, the white gay married everything, they took their money and ran. So they weren't, getting those same things. And I'll say this, and I'm gonna shut this down too, because these organizations aren't in our best interests lately either. What's that?
I was about to say, can I jump in somewhere before you
Yeah,
say?
come on.
I know I keep trying not to interrupt. I gotta
No,
get.
please
We need
do,
you,
please,
Erin,
yes,
girl.
I was gonna say, the target is always our imagination. Um, that is what we have to. That's what we have to rebuild for people is the ability to imagine something beyond what we are now navigating. I
yeah,
think even before capitalism, and I I think we're all unserious first. That's where I start, right? I start with we're all unserious. I think it is so much easier for us to share our thoughts and our things and to really be in it. I'm talking about in it. Yes, I really think we don't think about our planet. We don't actually think about our relationships as human beings to the planet. Like we're talking about all of these things in the future, and I'm constantly like, it's very hot this summer. Like it's hotter this summer than it was 2 summers ago, and 2 summers ago it was hot as fuck.
It was.
I'm like, we don't have the time that we think we have. I was at a family reunion and a family member was like, the earth isn't going to be here. And I was like, the earth is not going anywhere. Our ability to live on the earth is what is going to
right,
us. And
right.
I don't think we're taking any of that seriously. And one of the biggest
I
things
agree.
that we know that we were doomed, just kidding, but not really,
We
was the
are.
pandemic.
Yes,
We are
yes.
so, um, we are so like I mean, fat off of comfort to the point that wearing masks, even the left, I will never, ever forget how the left was justifying not masking, was justifying stopping virtual events when disabled people said, like, this is the first time we're able to really engage in these spaces because y'all are now, there are now, what is the word I'm looking for? Accommodations.
Accommodations,
There
yes.
are now accommodations for us to be in the room. People didn't want to continue masking. People didn't even want to imagine what could it look like for us to live in a world where a virus like this won't destroy us. What kind of things do we need to shift? I was in a movie theater like, damn, it's been a whole pandemic. We can't get an exhaust fan for shit going outside, you know. There are things that we skip over um, in pursuit of. I'm not saying this about any of
No, but
us.
I get you. Hmm.
I, these things. Fuck, I lost it. I'm so sorry,
The
y'all.
accommodations. No, but I hear what you're saying is that you're saying that, you knew that basically, even as we are looking at each other, like, are we about to do something? Like, because
Yeah.
fascism is rolling in or whatever. And the reality is, like you said, people have gotten too comfortable off comfort,
No,
and they will not trade it for the world. And what people do not know is that they know this. They've
right.
sold you your comfort. Hey, what you want? What else can we get you to stay there and just shut up and just let us do what we're doing?
Mhm.
So the key is getting uncomfortable.
But
And, and
comfort is the hallmark of being American.
I
That's the
love.
hallmark of being American. We can't live without our comforts.
And we have, and that is to me, like Larry from that last night is saying in the comments, I think it's common sense that people have lost. I've seen that a lot. And Miriam Kaba said something that completely blew my mind. She was like, we shape the common sense. Common sense is not just something that people have. We shape the common sense. And I wonder, like, how are we preparing people for loss? And how are we building up our our ability to risk things that we never felt we would have to risk? We still want to live alone, we still want to be at the top of our careers. We still want the spoils that this place has to offer. And that's even us on this call. So I
I'm about
think
to say you're reading the fuck out of me, sis.
no,
Well, no, I mean, but I get what you're saying. Listen. I've been in a different place for a long time because I've always told the girls, why do you think them white people and friends was living together? You can't start out and think that you're gonna have a love seat and a dining room table. Who you inviting, sis? What food is you buying, sis? Like, when in this market, you need roommates and stuff in the beginning, and things like that. But we can't get along with each other long enough to be roommates with each other. You know?
because we don't have to. Because
Right.
because the idea
Right.
is that we shouldn't have to. There are
Right.
70 of us here. We all need 70 homes. We need 70 individual homes, and we need the carte blanche to say what we want to happen on all of those. Like, we are not prepared to lose this place. And I think that is why I always have grace, for those of us who are maybe failing more visibly, because there are ways that all of us have traded in, our actual, I don't know, I keep losing words. It's
Yeah,
late.
you're right. We traded in our power for something that is really less than what in exchange. Yeah.
Yes, because and that is the thing. So for me, it is it's easy for us to know things. It's easy for us to have an understanding of things. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty, when they say, bitch, the air is toxic, y'all need to mask, not just to protect yourself, but to protect your children. And they friends at school and they parents and people said, I want no parts I
Right.
can't breathe in a mask. Isn't
Right.
it's not about you though?
Right.
We couldn't land on that. So for me, I'm like, we are a deeply unserious population of people, drunk off of our own knowledge, written in books that the government has allowed to even be available to us. And I think this is a moment that every single one of us, we have to really sit with the reality of this time and what we are really, really willing to lose. It's not just love and MAGA dick. It's a lot of stuff that we have to say, I'm okay with losing this for once there was a something,
Absolutely.
something yonder, whatever. I couldn't remember the song. I'm malfunctioning, y'all. Forgive me.
No,
Uh,
you good. You good.
just yes, what did she say? To get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back homeward from that movie Sing. Jennifer Hudson. She was like a hippo or something. It was beautiful. But she was talking about getting homeward. Like if the destination is really liberation, we got to be willing to run like we do if the house is on fire. No, you ain't grabbing your favorite motherfucking slippers, bitch. You running. We're getting out of here. And I don't think any of us are really there yet. And I think we have to be willing to quit playing these games
Yeah.
about who postures the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it is
Yeah.
about what are we really, really, really willing to risk for what it is we talk about. We have been having conversations. I love to talk, even though I'm malfunctioning.
No,
You can't.
listen, no, listen, and I need to
Oh, you
moderate this
gotta
because every
turn
time,
up.
every time I go over like this, then I have to wait because we've been gone 3 hours and they take a long time to process the situation.
Oh, okay,
But
okay, okay, okay.
luckily I'm recording locally, so I'm gonna have my stuff at a fingertip. So I did right this time and hit record locally, so I'm good. But no, this has been a dynamic conversation. We obviously hit so many different topics in one night. This just means that you girls have got to come back, and we've got to, So we're talking about some of the other issues, I got to tap you girls in because I think, like you said, and also people need to see us and understand that like you're talking to, you got a lawyer over here, you got somebody in social justice and movements that are not just about trans issues that have been involved in so many different things. So we're not just expertise or experience in trans issues, we're experiencing multiple things in the movement. And so that's what I'm here to do, as well as like lift your authority in all other conversations as well. So I hope to have you back chiming in on all the things.
Of course.
Have me back.
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
thank you so much.
thank you both for joining me tonight and keeping it real, and also for defending the girl as well. Things got a little rowdy out there. Thank you so
All love,
much.
Queen Tulsa. It's
Yes, we love you, girl. Get there. Yes. Okay. So, so I'm going to remove the girls from the chat. But thank you so much, everyone. This was such an amazing conversation. I did not get to really like show off a little bit and show you like my different camera angles that I had set up here, but don't worry because I had those cameras recording the whole time. So I'm probably going to mix in a couple of those angles when I go to actually edit the footage. That is all for us tonight. We have talked a lot. Queen, you stayed to the end of the show. For a shady bitch, you stayed here for me. You must love this shady bitch because you stayed the entire show and was in that comment section very, very active. I appreciate you doing all those things, but I would like for you to slow down a little bit and take more responsibility for how you're showing up, and stop projecting onto other people, because there's no shade that was intended with you when you initially came on, but you definitely brought some energy on there that was not created by this platform. So thank you all. We will talk with you all soon. Have a great evening. We will see you all next week. Let's see.